disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing.
Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.
Hello, Max. Nice to see you here.
Hello, my friend.
Oh, fuck.
Hello.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is your friend, Mr. BDA, and alongside with me, as always, my co-host, the one, the only King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Now, listen, fellas, we got a great show for everybody tonight. We will be covering the rematch between Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder. Will be taking place this Saturday on Fox pay-per-view. But before we do that, let's get the business out of the way. As always, guys, if you want to keep the show going, if you want to contribute to it, you can always do so by sending a couple of your spare change our way via PayPal, via the Super Chat, or via the BDA Patreon page. You can check all that our way. It always helps, guys. You know, the Spreaker service that we use costs money. So does the, what's it called? The Blog Talk Radio or digital landlords are always asking for the rent. So we got to pay that. And your contributions help, guys. All right? I am telling you, they do help. So if you want to continue listening from the BDA universe, you can always contribute. And if not, you can always continue to contribute by listening to the show, hitting that thumbs up button, subscribing, just essentially spreading the BDA gospel and continuing to fester. That's right, I said fester and feed the BDA congregation with more members. All right. So that's about it. Speaking of the BDA congregation, let's go to the chat room. We got the Fight Scout, Magic Man. Shout out to Azzy, Jason Bourne, Subash Kunwar. We got Michael Stott in there as well. Pink Panther. Unrivaled Boxing Talk. Shout out to Unrivaled. Shepherd of Sons. I'm going to call him Shepherd. No, wait a minute. Yeah, we got Shepherd of Sons in there. Shout out to Shepherd. And we got Bay Area Boxing. I'm not going to change your name, all right, honey? No matter how many times you change it. Who else do we got? We got Gonzalo in there as well. Shout out to Gonzalo. Uncle Burnt Apostrophe. Saint Brit. Many more people to come, I am sure. So, like I said, we will be talking tonight about Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. there's some negative and there's some positive. As always, we will try to keep it positive on this show. That's what we do. Try to keep it light. Try to keep it fun. Bucho, let me just hold on a second. Let me just ask you real quick.
Yeah, I'm
What
here.
do you? Was that?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think about this
I got kicked out
rematch?
for a bit.
You're gonna have to
What
dial
I think
out.
about this fight?
Yes.
I think it's an interesting fight. Obviously, it's not. It shouldn't be a pay per view, in my opinion. But like I always say, listen, you can say whatever you want about Deontay Wilder. He is an exciting boxer to watch, for the most part, just because you don't know what you're gonna get. I still believe that he's a knockout waiting to happen. But for sure, we know that he's a heavy hitter and he can knock out anybody basically with one punch. So it's always exciting to see Deontay Wilder fight. That's not to say that his fights are 100% entertaining, because there's usually moments when nothing happens with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember that, what was the George Washington fight?
Oh yeah.
If you look at the first Ortiz fight, the first 3 rounds, I believe nothing was happening at all. But there's always excitement at some point. So I gotta give credit to Wilder. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. Is wouldn't it be fair to say that now, knowing that Wilder's punch power to me is not overrated? I think it's about right that he is one of the hardest punchers, I would even say, ever. Because okay, his competition is subpar, but how many people can lay them out the way he does? I mean, most of these guys, like Brazil, Joshua couldn't do to Brazil what Wilder did.
You're saying of all time, so let's compare him with other boxers from throughout history, right? And we're not comparing to Joshua.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, Joe Louis, Ernie Shavers, those were some of the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division. Mike Tyson, of course. I mean, look, this guy is taking on the subpar opposition, and most of them he's rendering them out. He's taking them out cold. So he is a big puncher. And so what I'm trying to get at here is that when I watch some of his fights, even though there might not be any action right away, I'm a little bit on the edge of my seat because I'm thinking, all right, it's coming. Something is going to happen here. So I'm willing to pay for this pay-per-view. It shouldn't be pay-per-view, and in a way, if I pay for this pay-per-view, I am contributing to putting certain fights that don't deserve it either. But at the same time, it's capitalism. If you want a product and you want to watch it, you pay for it. And this, let me tell you, again, looking at the positives, it's not a bad card. You get a main event that should prove, at the minimum, to be quite explosive in its ending. You got Leo Santa Cruz versus an outmatched opponent. Okay, that's a negative, but at least it's Leo Santa Cruz. When he fights outmatched guys, he usually does take them out. Brandon Figueroa versus Julio Ceja. Brandon Figueroa is another psycho, just like his brother. These guys, they look like they're babyface guys, okay? And you look at them, you think, God, they're not gonna. But they're the psychos of the neighborhood. They are the ones that go around murdering cats, getting wasted, drinking moonshine. These guys are dangerous. Even Librado, remember Librado Andrade told us that the guy's insane. Okay, he didn't say that. I should back up a little bit. He said that those guys, especially he was talking more or less about Brian Figueroa. Is it Brian Figueroa, his brother? What's his name again? Anyway, the guy that lost to. The guy that lost to Ugas, he said he's cut from a different cloth. He really does love to fight. So at the very least, we should see a bit of a slugfest. And of course, the one that I'm expecting, I'm the most excited for, is Luis Neri versus Emmanuel Rodriguez. And guess what, guys? If you don't want to see this fight, earlier that day, you can catch Callum Smith against an outmatched opponent just to see what happens. But also, you got on the zone from Indio, California, Andrew Cancillo versus Rene Alvarado. That's a nice little fight. If you get a DAZN subscription and you don't want to pay extra to watch the pay-per-view over at Fox Sports, this is certainly a nice little filler.
Yep.
All right. So I see we got Stu on the line. Now you know what that means. Hold on a sec. You know what that means, yeah?
Shut up!
No, that's not it. Oh, jeez. Not starting off on the right foot.
I wasn't back
I
though.
told you what's going to happen to Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
What's happening, boys?
What's
Hello,
up, Stu?
Good to have you back on board.
Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I got to tell you, I was re-listening to the last 2 episodes. For those of you that haven't been listening, Stu is back. He's been back for the last 2 episodes, and he has lost none of his verbal potency. And Stu, I got to ask you, man. I got to ask you, the thing that's on everybody's mind is, oh, by the way, do I hear an echo or... Yeah, Stu, do you have your speakers on? Yeah, I think he did.
No, no, I'm alright. No, just the speakers on the computer. But
Yeah, you should turn those down because I can hear myself in there.
hang on a sec.
Yeah, please. Just some earphones, some headphones, some cans, as we call them in the industry. Those would be quite nice.
Is that better?
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Well, can you hear us or?
Of course, can. Yeah.
Okay. The question that's on everybody's mind is, because there's a lot of questions coming into this rematch, but the main question is Stu, who lives in the UK, going to stay up to watch this fight?
What, the Wilder Ortiz fight?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm going to try and stay up. You know, at the end of the day, my days of fighting the sleep are long gone. I usually fucking nod off, but I'm going to try and stay up for this one. It's a fight I'm interested in. I want to see it.
Is this pay-per-view over there in the UK?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's just on Sky Sports. I think Callum Smith's on first, and then they're showing that on afterwards. Which, yeah, I wouldn't pay pay-per-view for that. Fuck that, man.
Yeah, let's check that out. Let's get a fact check on that. I wrote Wilder Ortiz to Sky Sports, and it says Sky Sports, Deontay Wilder's premier boxing podcast is live on Sky Sports. Okay, so that's regular Sky Sports. That's not a Sky Box Office.
Right, yeah.
All right, so there you go. It's not, you don't have to pay for it over there.
Well, I wouldn't pay for it anyway. I want to pay 4 o'clock in the morning to pay for that. Come on.
Well, that's the question I'm asking Bucho and you, and it's, at the very least, is this going to be a nice little explosive fight with an explosive ending?
Depends what Ortiz turns up. You know, he's not improved much, has he, since the last Wilder fight? He's gone backwards in my eyes. It's got worse every time I've seen him. He's looked atrocious. It's, you know, he looks like he's in a bit better shape, and he's took this camp a bit more serious. I think he's got a nutritionist, and he definitely looks in better shape. And the haircut as well. He's polished himself up a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's still an old man. He's not getting any younger, is he? No matter how much nutrition he has, and, you know, the haircuts, whatever, you know, the weight loss is still an old man. So, and I think with Wilder, I think he's getting better. He's learning on the job still with Wilder. I think he's starting to improve every time I see him, and I just think it's going to be a Wilder knockout, but I think it's going to be a bit quicker this time. I think we took 5-6 rounds.
I tell you what,
I just don't
man.
see Ortiz having the snap in his punches.
Yeah, I tell you what about Deontay Wilder is, I do think he is improving a little bit. Not as much as people would have liked him to, but he's starting to turn into a little bit. You can see him, he's trying to counterpunch a little bit more. In the Ortiz fight, he pulled that off a little bit. Against Tyson Fury, he tried to, although that was a whole other level of boxers. Against slow 45-year-old Ortiz, I think he can work on a couple of things in this one.
Well, this is the thing. It's the when you just haven't got the foot speed anymore, and you're seeing the punches, but you can't get out of the way. You know, that's how he's catching up. I mean, let's be real. If you can see Wilder's shots and can't get out of the way of them, then you're in big trouble, because when he lands, all sorts of things happen. Do you know what I mean? And you need to be able to get the way. You need to be able to see those shots and get out of the way of them. And I just think with Ortiz, he's not the age that he says he is on Wikipedia. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
he's older than that. He's like probably nearly 50 years old, and he's in there with a heavyweight in the prime years of his life, an athletic heavyweight at that. I mean, one thing about Wilder, he's not very busy, but he never really blows. You never see him, even when he was fighting Tyson Fury, he was still strong in the latter rounds. I mean, when he dropped Fury in the 12th, was it the 12th round? I think it was the 11th round when he dropped him. 12th round it was. I mean, it shows you still got a lot in the tank to be landing them shots and causing that devastation still in the 12th round. So I think he's a young guy and he's fresh, and I just think that'd be just enough to beat Ortiz because after 5 or 6, Ortiz is going to be flagging.
Yeah.
He's not showed me that he
By the way,
can fight at a pace of 12
This is
rounds.
an Ortiz that had fucking heart problems. Or was it, sorry, high blood pressure? I mean, come on. That was a few years ago. Now that the issue is probably even worse.
well, that's the thing, though, right? That before the fight, we don't know what was happening. They said that before the fight, he was getting dialysis or chemotherapy, or he was getting a shot of penicillin or something. Something was going on that he had to get on an IV apparently right before the fight. So, listen, you tell us what happened. We don't know. The rumor is that he's older than what people think. So I don't know. I mean, it's like you listen. One thing I did say before the first fight, and I will repeat it in this one, and it's even more important now. This is a Wild West shootout. It's about who can be the quickest draw, the quicker draw. And at this point, of course, it has always been, and even more so now. Deontay Wilder has a speed advantage. They can both hurt each other because they're both power punchers, but it's Deontay Wilder who you figure will get there first if he shoots first. So,
Yeah.
And by
I
the way,
think Wilder's going to fight. I think Wilder's going to fight on the back foot and walk Ortiz onto one. Ortiz, when he's chasing the fight, he's on the front foot. He struggles. I mean, he struggled against Travis Kaufman. I mean, Kaufman was on the back foot, right, and he just couldn't cope. It's the same with Malik Scott, I believe. I mean, he fucking couldn't touch Malik Scott, could he? Couldn't land a fucking glove on the guy. And I've seen it. I just think he struggles with a guy that knows range and can fight on the back foot. And I think that's the tactics Wilder's going to come with. I don't think Wilder's going to come forward and launch them big bombs, because one thing Ortiz can do, because you lose your power last, and he is a very good counter puncher, and Ortiz punches. When I noticed in the last fight, when Wilder was obviously throwing shots, Ortiz was punching with him, and that's what you got to do with Wilder, because he's so sloppy. If yours lands first, then you're in, the sort of thing. Because Wilder, I still think he's vulnerable, although he hasn't been decked for a while. I still think he's vulnerable, but I think Wilder's going to fight on the back foot and walk Ortiz onto one. That's the way I see it.
Well, I want to get back to that point because you make a good point. But before we do, I just want to introduce we got recognized on the line.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
All right, recognize you there.
What's going on?
Well, we're talking about the big rematch. I mean, it's better than nothing this Saturday. I mean, it will prove at least to be an intriguing fight on paper. Of course, we're talking about Wilder versus Ortiz. Stu made a good point about speed and Ortiz maybe walking into something, and it made me think. The Wilder can leave himself open when he strikes. I mean, Ortiz, when he hurt him in the first fight, it was because he caught him with a counterpunch. And then in that round and in the next round, he tried to take Wilder out of there, couldn't do it. My question to you is: is Wilder's chin a little bit underrated here? You know, people make it out to be as if he's Amir Khan. What do you think about Wilder's chin?
Yeah, probably a little underrated. In terms of his ability to take a punch, I think what's going to end up betraying him if he ever gets knocked out, which I believe he will before his career ends, it's going to be his legs more than likely. I don't think it's going to be, of course, when you get hit in the chin in the right spot, your brain rattles. And that kind of happened to him in the first fight, but you saw that he stayed up. And I think that's an attribute to his chin. In other words, he can take better punches than most people think. It wasn't enough to buckle his legs and make him drop. Yeah, I think he has a good chin. He's very athletic, like Stu was saying. He's which means he's a very strong man in great shape. And I just don't see where Ortiz can win this fight. I mean, anything could happen in boxing. You know, we know that, but slim chance. I thought his best moment or his best chance to win the fight was in the first when they fought the first time, and he had him hurt. I want to say the 6th or the 7th round, where he hurt him and almost got him out of there. But I don't think he gets that opportunity again. I suspect that Wilder's probably more likely is gonna pretty much stay away from that, fight him sort of on the back foot, long range, and try to set him up one of his big punches and get him out of there.
Yeah, because we were talking about that, and Stu said that as well, that he might try to get Ortiz to walk into something big. He almost got him. I was rewatching that fight, not recently, but when I was doing preparation for the Wilder Fury fight, and there were certain instances where Wilder loaded up with counterpunches and missed Ortiz by a couple of inches, and I thought, man, he's really trying. The negative of that is he was leaning back. So he lost a lot of his punching power when he threw it because, again, leaning back, you're taking away snap from that shot. But nevertheless, he's such a big puncher that he can still hurt you even when he does things the wrong way. So if he does them the right way, man, Ortiz could be in trouble coming forward.
But the thing, that first fight, I mean, Wilder was telegraphing his shots, and Ortiz was still getting hit by him. I noticed him; he just couldn't get out of the way of those shots, and that's age. That is because he watch that fight back. He's seen the shots because he's a smart fighter. He's had enough fights. He's a schooled guy. He's been around the block. He's seeing these shots, but he just couldn't get out of the way of them. And they were straight shots, telegraph shots, hitting him and hurting him. And that's what worries me in this fight. I mean, like I said, this guy he hasn't got up in the morning. This is not fucking Benjamin Button here. Do you know what I mean? This guy's not getting younger. He's getting older, and you know, and a fucking haircut is not going to change that. So I'm a bit worried that he's just not going to be able to get out the way of the shots. I think he's going to be a lot smarter than Brazil, but he's not going to just stroll forward at square on with his chin in the air, saying "knock me out." He's going to be a bit smarter. No, I just think the shots that were hitting him in the first fight were quite alarming to me because I think world-class fighters should have been getting out of the way of them, but he just couldn't get out of the way of them. And like I said, this fight, I think it's going to take its toll on him in the end. The shots.
I agree, man. I mean, the age thing, it is what it is. At least he's trying to do something different, change it up. At least he got a nutritionist, he's slimming down, getting rid of that fat. Not like Stuvern, whom apparently he was posting videos of his training before the rematch against Wilder, and it was apparently, I didn't see them, but people were saying that they were pathetic. I don't know how I didn't see it. I missed them during the build-up for the fight, but then obviously you look at his performance in that one, and it was like Stu said at that time, he showed up looking like Barry White in there, no effort whatsoever. Ortiz, at least, give him credit, man. He's trying to change it up. I don't think he's coming down here to lay down.
Stavern was different. He came in to lose the fight.
Yeah.
Ortiz is a prideful man. You know, those are a lot of guys from the Caribbean, you know, Cuba, places like that. They're very prideful people. So he's not gonna, you know, he believes.
He's definitely not coming to lose. That was fucking embarrassing. I mean, just the guy was a beaten man the minute the fight was signed. You just saw him in the press conference. He was in dreadful shape. I mean, like I said, I don't know what sort of training the guy was doing, but as soon as he got in there, it was like watching fucking Michael Spinks all over again. The way he was fucking shivering in the ring, you just thought this ain't gonna last very long. And as soon as he got clipped with one, he started to do the fucking. He started to do the tap dance, didn't he? And fucking the rest is history, sort of thing. He just didn't want to know. And I think with Ortiz, he's not going to do that. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
By the way, people, the phone lines are open, so you can give us your predictions about in regards to this rematch, which I think is going to be an interesting little shootout. It is on pay-per-view, so if you want to spend money on that, it wouldn't be the worst thing you could spend money on. Let me tell you that much right now. So let's go to the phone lines right now. We got 484. I don't know if that's Jackson or Jesus. Caller, either.
Jackson.
Jackson, thank you for calling in, man. What do you want to talk about?
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
No.
you. Yeah. Oh, you can't?
It's echoing pretty
Yeah, I can hear him,
hard.
of course.
Okay. Well, let's try to move past it there, Jackson. How about now? Can you still hear us? Or, I mean, do you still hear the echo?
I can hear you, but then like you're trailing. Let me just give my thoughts on the fight real quick.
Sure.
I truly believe it's going to be just like the Stavern. Yeah, no, I can hear you guys. No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. All right. So this is what's going to happen, guys. The same thing with that fat, the guy Don King promoted.
Stavern.
You guys remember that fight when you went the distance with him? He was jabbing. He was looking like Muhammad Ali, and then he got clipped in 30 seconds with like a fucking Allen Iverson sidestep.
Are you talking about Buster Douglas?
No, I'm talking about the first or the second Wilder Stavern fight.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Do you guys remember?
Yeah, we do.
It was like a blur.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember. It was like a blur. What I remember. Yeah.
I mean, did you see the ragu sauce that Stavern was eating before the fucking fight? I mean, he went at 3 divisions just after eating that meal. Fuck's sake! I mean, this guy don't want it. You know, look what happened when he went in there with Joe Joyce. He took a few shots and fucking got the fuck out of there. Let's be real, man. You know, if anything, Wilder's highlight reels have been outshone recently, because I know Spilker was on that highlight reel, and I think Chisora did just as good a job on Spilker than fucking Wilder did. That's for sure.
Well, Jackson, give us your prediction. How do you see this fight, this rematch going, this scintillating rematch?
I can't hear anything. I'm going to call right back. All right, guys?
All right. So he could hear me pretty well. He could hear Stu pretty well.
I
sure.
I got a good one. I got a real good one.
I hope so.
I got a great prediction.
All right.
Hey, Jackson, call back, all right?
Yeah, call back, man. Come on. What are you doing? All right, let's move on to another phone call. 470. You're on the air. 470.
Hey guys. I think Wilder's gonna bomb this guy out. Early rounds. I think the first fight. The fact is that Ortiz threw everything he had at Deontay Wilder, couldn't knock him out, couldn't finish him, and I think Wilder said he was sick. He was like real low weight for the first fight. He's enhanced himself. Now he's weighing more. I think he looks stronger. I just think Ortiz is coming. He's somehow made himself look younger. He's gotten himself in shape. His hair there's no grays in his hair. I know he did that hair color shit for men, but I just think he's going to get knocked out. The thing about Wilder, you got to look very carefully at. He's a very smart guy. He may not seem like it. All his opponents, all his opponents have slow feet, can't really move their head, and they're right there in the line of fire for that right hand, for the jab and the right hand. Ortiz, Stavern, Brazil. And so I just think that Luis Ortiz is going to get bombed out early. I don't think he can get out of the way. I think he's too slow. He just doesn't have the foot movement with his age, and that's just the way I see the fight going.
That's a good point about the head movement, because Luis Ortiz does not move his head a lot. He's right there for that right hand. Now, may I ask you, you mentioned Deontay Wilder's weight. I believe he weighed in at a very low 214 for the last fight against Ortiz. You said he looks like he's packing more muscle for this one?
Well, that's another topic, but yeah, he was 214 for that fight. I think he was 209 for Fury, and then for Brazil he put on I think he was like 225, 226, all muscle. However he did that, that's up for speculation. Right. But that same extra enhanced muscle is what's going to get the job done quicker and earlier. this time for sure. I think he's going to be in probably the high 220s for this fight. So that's what I think is going to happen.
So you think this
Don't
one
spend
is
$75 if you're punching on it.
Yeah, well, so you think this one's gonna end earlier than expected? Now, I tried looking for on Google. I wrote VADA drug testing, Luis Ortiz Wilder 2. Couldn't find anything. Have you heard anything about any drug testing for this one?
You know what's interesting? Everybody talks about drug testing for Joshua, for Lomachenko. You hear all this. I mean, even Canelo, all these guys. You hear all this shit about drug testing. Dylan White. But you never hear anything about Deontay Wilder's fights. You never hear of any VADA protocol. You never hear any drug testing protocol for any of it. You never hear about it. You never hear about it. And he just goes up in weight. He'll put on like 20 pounds. Nobody says anything. I just find that interesting. But I think my personal opinion, I think he did do some shit, and he put that muscle back on because he wanted to bomb out Brazil. And I think the same thing is going to happen here to Luis Ortiz.
Yeah, well, we have to
bombed out early.
We have to specify that this is the caller's opinion. It is not the opinion of the BDA Boxing show, but he certainly believes that there is some shenanigans going on here. So let me ask you something else. You mentioned the Wilder's almost getting hurt in the first fight. And I asked the question to recognize Ortiz threw everything but the kitchen sink at him, and he couldn't put him out. Do you think Wilder's chin is a little bit underrated coming into this fight?
I don't think the problem is Luis Ortiz. He could really. I think he landed the first shot that Wilder didn't see. It was a counter punch. Then he landed a straight left hand, but he didn't have it in his gas tank to finish the job. So in terms of Wilder's chin, even from his Olympic days, I think if the right person put the right punch on his chin, he's going out. I mean, if he fought like a Joshua, even somebody quick like a Usyk, who could hit him and follow up and not get tired, I think he could be knocked out. But Luis Ortiz doesn't have the gas tank to get the job. I mean, he might even knock Wilder down, but he doesn't have the gas tank, especially once you get past 6-7 rounds. He doesn't have the gas tank to finish the job.
All right, guys, we don't have a delay with this caller, so if you want to add something to what he said.
No, I just want to say I agree with the caller on a few points. Number one, I think when Wilder is at 225, I think he's deadly, man. That's a deadly Wilder. However he gets there, whether he's taking something, to me it really doesn't matter because I feel like they all kind of take something. But when I notice when Wilder's at 225, that's a deadly man. I don't think there's many person that could survive his shots. His point about Ortiz, when he had him hurt in the first fight, and he was catching him with some, when he caught him with a couple of shots, seemed like he gassed out. If it would have been a guy like, and again, this is just me assuming that he gets the same result. He would have, if Usyk would have hurt him like that, I think Usyk would have had enough energy to hurt him bad, where it kind of like, remember when Ray Mercer hurt Tommy Morrison? He was just like on Queer Street. He couldn't really defend himself. At that point, it could end like that because he'll have the energy. Now, that's assuming he could get that same result, like hurt him with one punch and then have him, have him defenseless, basically. I thought Ortiz was going to do that, but when I saw how vulnerable Wilder was when he got caught, it's just like the caller said, it just seemed like he missed a few shots. Maybe that's because of age, and he gassed out, so he wasn't able to finish it.
Right. Yeah, it's true, man. I mean, that's the downfall of age. I mean, he can't sustain. He tried, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, brother. Sorry, crack on.
Well, I was just gonna say that he tried to, but then he couldn't follow up on the consistency. And now maybe that he's got this new nutrition and all that, maybe he can keep up the pace. But he also, remember, there was also the shenanigans with the doctor referee. I forgot who he was that gave Wilder a bit of a timeout. So.
Oh yeah, but Ortiz is not shown to me that he's a power puncher. I mean, let's start counting the KOs that he's got. I mean, really, Jennings was the last time he really hurt someone bad and at a decent level. You know, I know he stopped Dave Allen. Come on, fucking hell, who hasn't stopped Dave Allen? Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
he's not shown to me that he's a world class puncher anyway. Because let's be real, the way Wilder was hurt, if that was Joshua that had got him hurt like that, then Wilder would have still been sleeping now.
Yeah, I think a guy like Joshua would have got him out. Yeah.
Yeah, even Andy Ruiz, even Andy Ruiz, you know, with his speed, you know, I think he's taking Wilder out. Ortiz,
guys with better stamina than Ortiz, right?
yeah, when you've got a guy that badly hurt, you've got, if you're a puncher, you've got to be stopping the guy. I mean, if you can't stop him when he's in that condition, you can forget it happening any other time. You know, that guy Wilder his legs are gone. He took about 4 or 5 minutes to recover. If you go back and watch that fight, I mean, even the doctor gave him a fucking rest, and his legs were still not there. But Ortiz was just so slow, closing down the distance and trying to get his shots off, and he just took too long and let Wilder, you know, get a second win. And once Wilder got behind his jab again, he started landing big shots, and then that's all she wrote then. But like I said, he had his chance, and he just, for me, he just doesn't have the power. Wilder's not got a terrible chin because he took some shots against Luis Ortiz and he stayed on his feet, so he's got a decent chin. I just think with the top punchers, I think if they get Wilder hurt like that, then it's over. Even Fury's not a massive puncher, but I think if Fury had got Wilder in that state, I think he would have finished him.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I mean, it's that's why I want to see Ortiz out of the way. I mean, hey, listen, if he pulls off the win, he pulls off the win. If not, Wilder should take on a younger fella, somebody that can really crack and keep it up. And you know what? Even I don't think Joshua, or at least the Joshua that we saw in Luis, he can't keep up that pace either. He's too muscle bound. Let's see if he loses some of that muscle for the Luis rematch.
Well, he definitely did. He definitely looks slimmer. AJ.
Right. Well,
but
we'll see.
I think my point is, if he can hurt, if what the point is like, if he can get Wilder in that same situation, I think that a guy like AJ would be more of a threat because he's younger, same height as him, you know, a little bit bigger muscle wise than Wilder. So he's athletic, right? So he could probably keep up the pace. Where Ortiz missed his opportunity. Maybe that had to do with age. Maybe that had to do with, you know, he's just not good enough. And he missed his opportunity.
It was both, really. You know, it is his age because he's an old man. No matter what you say, he's an old guy. But I just don't think he's good enough anyway. If you go back, look at his career, he's not been a winner, really, has he? He's not really won anything. You know, he's been that guy hovering around at the top, but he's never been that guy, has he? Let's be real. So I just don't. I think
his knockouts were against lesser guys.
One of the most overrated fighters in boxing at one time. When they was all calling him the boogeyman, it was all because Wilder fans were trying to make this guy look like a monster. So it made his win look better. That's all it was. You know, and this guy before the Wilder fight, it not impressed me at all. He came to England, signed with Eddie Hearn, fucking stunk the joint out twice. Absolutely dreadful he was. You know, I mean, no one was watching that. No one wanted to watch that. That's how poor he was. So, you know, he wasn't actually setting fireworks alight, was he? Before Wilder got hold of him. So,
yeah, he really.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that, about the power, the so-called power. So, 470. Anything else you want to say before we let you go?
No, I just wanted to say again that Wilder, you guys are talking about following up and the power, and I've said this before. Wilder, for whatever reason, the fights don't happen with the guys who have that ability. The Povetkins, the Klitschkos, the Joshuas, the Whites, all the guys who've got the stamina, who've got the power, who can deliver the power. For whatever reason, those fights never happen with Wilder. But the guys who stay right there on that center line, the guys who don't have the foot movement or the head movement to get out the way, they get lined up one by one for Deontay Wilder. So that pretty much sums up what I think of him in his career.
Where's my X-Files music? No, yeah, you're right. It seems like the
He
first.
is right, man. I mean, he does. I mean, he has fought like Fury, who does. He's a guy who doesn't really stand in the center. He's a big target though, but he's still a good
Fury
fighter.
was
But
picked.
other than that,
Fury was-
they're kind of like slow-footed fighters that kind of in the range of. I would say most heavyweights are gonna be like that anyway because they're so fucking big, especially at the elite level. But there are fighters he could fight.
Dominic Brazil. I mean, talk about a guy waiting for his own assassination.
Yeah, man. I mean,
He knew a bullet was coming.
Assassination.
He was waiting for the shot. He like flinched before it even landed. Knew it was coming. I mean, for that guy, scared stiff he was. Couldn't wait to get out of there. And that's the problem. Wilder. The only guys that have not been scared of Wilder are guys that have actually troubled him. Do you know what I mean? I think he's got a bit of a Tyson factor to him, Wilder has. I think he scares a few guys and they're fucking beat before they even get in the ring. But I think if you show Wilder no fear like Tyson Fury did, then I think that's the way to go. Because bullies obviously don't like getting bullied themselves.
That's right.
Yeah, even Mike Tyson, right? Like Mike Tyson had that bully. Like you said, there's a comparison between like the way the opponents come in to a Wilder fight to Tyson. But you saw when like a guy fought back, kind of like stood his ground, always gave Tyson some problems.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone that actually threw punches gave Tyson problems. A lot of the guys will beat. I mean, let's be real, fucking.
I think it's for different reasons, Stu. I don't know if you would agree with me. I think for Tyson, it was because he was always the smaller man as a heavyweight, 5'10", 5'11", 215, 220 in his prime. I think for Wilder, it's because of his bad boxing technique. Is the reason why he has problems when a guy's not intimidated by him.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Listen.
I mean, watching the Ortiz fight the other day, it came on, so I thought I'd watch it. And the amount of times he slaps his punches, you can see why he has so many hand injuries. I mean, the guy's punching technique is horrible. If he could get that right, if he had Golovkin's punching technique, he'd kill someone in the ring. He would.
Oh yeah, that's true, man.
He'd be fucking dangerous. I mean, I think the fact that he doesn't know how to throw a shot he does now and again when he gets in shape, gets behind the jab, and he's throwing the basic punches from range. He's dangerous, but he just doesn't have any technique when he's throwing hooks. His uppercuts, they're all sloppy slaps, and I think if he could get that technique right, he'd do a lot of damage.
That's true. That's true. Now listen, before we move on, 470, we're going to move on to another phone call. Thank you for calling in and thank you for your prediction. We'll see if you're correct. We will see if you are correct. All right. Take it easy, 470. Thank you for calling in.
Take care.
All right. All right. We're going to move on. Before we do that, I just want to say thank you to Michael Stott, who donated with the super chat. He says, the best the PBC can offer, and we have to pay for it. Just like Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, and Errol Spence, Sean Porter, unfortunately. All right, listen, let's go back to Jackson, see if he's fixed his... Jackson, are you there? Jackson?
Yeah, I hope it sounds better now.
Well, hopefully. Anyway, listen,
Sorry
we can...
about that, guys.
Don't worry about it. We can hear you crystal clear, so let's hear it. I'm curious, what's your prediction for this one?
Okay, the way I see it, it could go three different ways. If you look at it from a promotional standpoint, you can see the promoters doing a little Andy Ruiz thing where you can see Wilder get knocked out and then they run a rubber match just to make money off that. They could do that, or the other case I see is Ortiz just gets wiped out in the first round, just like Stavern did.
Go ahead, Charlie. Keep dancing.
And you know what I mean?
Sure. And what's the third option then? I think I missed it. You said Ortiz gets blasted, Wilder is the one that gets blasted, and then there's a third one.
Third option is Ortiz fights like Stavern did against Joe Joyce. If you watch that fight, he was actually throwing punches, and he was trying to take, he wasn't winning the fight, but he was trying to take Joe Joyce out.
Right.
And
Oh,
then
so you mean,
if
like, in
it's
other
the
words,
third
don't even try to
option,
box
it's
with
gonna
him,
be a
just try
real
to take him
fight.
out.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
think
yeah.
so.
Like, in other words, he feels like, look, I'm not gonna try to box him. I'm trying to knock him out. In other words, he's just.
That's what you predicted to recognize, no?
Yeah,
Or
fight.
what you should suggest that should happen.
Well,
That's how you
yeah. If
Wilder.
I'm Ortiz, I'm trying to knock him out within the first 5 rounds.
5
Just
rounds.
go for that shit. See what happens.
That's how I think. That's how you beat Wilder. I think if you try and box him for 12 rounds, 36 minutes is. I've said it so many times. It's a long time to stay away from Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, he's gonna
He will
assassinate you sooner or later.
He will
It
eventually
is a
get his
long
technique
time.
right. He'll eventually get his timing right, and when he lands, it's sleepy sleep time. You know,
He reminds me a lot of Roy Jones.
you have to get him out of there. He's
reminds-
terrible fighting on the back foot for me. When you put pressure on Wilder, he folds. He just holds on for dear life. He's got no inside game. You know, he doesn't really know how to hold properly.
Stu's right.
He's not a
You
white.
gotta take the fight to
He's
him.
not a
You
wily
have to fight
fox.
on the inside.
He's got defensive flaws, and I think you've got to take it to Wilder. Well, I think Fury was doing his best work when he was doing that. When he was trying to box on the back foot and doing all these fucking posing. I mean, well, that's not the way to beat Deontay Wilder. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so Jackson, so you're saying you agree with
Let me
that?
say this BDA. Let me say one thing.
Go ahead.
I've researched this in the amateurs and the pros. Wilder has always avoided big punchers. So there's something wrong with his chin. It's not like we've seen him get clipped by like Brazil, and there's something wrong with the guy's chin. They don't want him against good punchers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Ortiz was never known as a knockout puncher.
Well, Ortiz. Well, I mean, listen. Like Stu said, I mean, let's look at his record. The best stoppage he's got so far is we remember when he stopped Brian Jennings. But at least he can crack better than, say, Tyson Fury. At least he can crack better than.
Oh, he's got good power. Good
Right.
power.
That's what I'm saying. So what's your prediction? Because you gave us your three possibilities. So let's go with an official Jackson prediction, a patented Jackson prediction. What's the prediction?
Put your reputation on the line. What's your prediction?
This will be exactly what happened. What fight happens first? AJ Ruiz or the Wilder fight? Which fight happens first?
Wilder Ortiz.
Okay, Wilder
happens this Saturday. This Saturday.
First round.
What was that? First round.
But Wilder's going to knock him out in the first round. It's going to be the same as the Severn fight.
Oh, all right. Well, that's good. Thank you for the prediction.
That's it, boys.
That's it. We'll let you get back to your cloud of marijuana, and thank you for calling in, Jackson. Always appreciate it.
Nothing wrong with marijuana.
I didn't say there's anything wrong with marijuana. All right, take it easy, Jackson. Thank you for calling in. All right.
I'm having some right now.
Is that right? Well, let's call the parole officer. No, I'm kidding. Listen, we got to move on. By the way, we got Gonzalo on the line. Gonzalo, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hey, good to have you on board, Gonzalo.
How's everybody doing?
Good to have you on board.
Everybody's doing fine.
Everybody's doing hunky-dory. Let's get to another phone call before we continue with the Wilder Ortiz discussion. To 805, you're on the air. 805. Is this Puglacan?
Hey, what's up, BDA? How you doing? Am I coming
is
clear?
this Michael Stott?
Dr. Stott,
Yeah.
was it?
My fellow Ryan Garcia.
Doctor.
The only fellow fan of the
We're
Ryan
not here to
Garcia.
talk about Ryan Garcia today, though.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. So, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Ortiz Wilder? Give us your prediction.
Kind of, yeah. A couple quick things. Well, yeah. First of all, I think it should be on TV. This was definitely a fight that they should probably have posted like publicly, and
right.
Probably just would make just as much money, don't you think? Or do you think they'll turn out like a huge a buyout for $70 a pop? Or I mean, because they could get commercial. There's so many people on the card that they could have pretty good commercial breaks between those fights, and put this on TV. And it's going to be like a long night too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true, because Jimmy said that. Jimmy said that the reason why Fox Sports is not going to be putting that they're in a bit of a bind here is because they can't pay for to put this type of fights on Fox Sports Live, or maybe they don't have the date to do it. They don't have the date. So I completely agree. Butcher said it too. These fights should be on Fox Sports, but now you got to get Fox Sports and you got to pay $75 plus the $10 for HD, I believe, if you care about that sort of thing.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, listen, it is what it is. Listen, I'm gonna try to get it.
Quick prediction. Oh, my bad. Sorry, I didn't.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Quick prediction though. I think each fight, the undercards. I think all those 12-round fights with Leo Santa Cruz, Neri. Who was the other one?
Hold on a second. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds here. All right, sorry.
Yeah.
Luis Neri versus Emmanuel Rodriguez, Leo Santa Cruz, and hold on a second. Let me check real quick. I'll give you that answer. It's I said real quick. God, Brandon Figueroa versus Julio Ceja.
That's right. Yeah, Figueroa.
Yes.
Anyways, I think all these guys are gonna box 12 rounds, all three of those fights. So I think it's just gonna be like a long night waiting for the final event. It's gonna fucking kick off late. And then all this anticipation, I bet you Wilder's going to knock him out in under 7 rounds. I just think so at this point. I think he's just going to maybe give away the first couple of rounds to wear out Ortiz. But I think he's going to start just going for it. And I think he's going to catch him midway through the fight, maybe the 7th, 8th round.
You know what?
But, I think he's going to get a flash knockout. And that old man's going to be like, fuck this, I retired. I'm not getting back up.
That's a good point. I could see that. I could see the undercard. They all end within 3 rounds, and then we gotta wait for them. The announcers making time. We gotta wait for Lennox Lewis to make his point and look at the look at the camera and pause for about 2-3 solid seconds, wide-eyed, and then just finally continue mumbling about what he was saying. I think that's what we're gonna have to endure. But listen, you pay for it. You pay for it. You don't want to watch it. Don't watch it. It's up to everybody out there. So your prediction is Deontay Wilder blasts old man Luis Ortiz, and Luis Ortiz actually takes a bit of a dive, is what you're saying.
I don't know if he'll dive. He'll just be like, all right, I quit. Like, I kind of maybe he can get up and take more punishment, but I think he's gonna be like, you know what, fuck it. Like, this guy's gonna just knock me out even worse if I keep trying to get back up. He might get knocked down once or twice and then just kind of give up and maybe just say, like he said I heard his first excuse was that he was fatigued, he wasn't hurt, but he might say the same thing again. Just, I'm too old, I can't go 12.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, he did look like he got dropped solid the first time, and he was shaking his head as if to say, I'm okay. No, you're not okay, old man. You got your ass knocked down. Take it like a man. Now you got your rematch and do something about it. All right.
Here's a side note that I don't think anyone's brought up yet, but I noticed Caleb Smith in the UK is fighting some dude who's actually ranked in the top 5 of the super middleweight division, who I've never seen fight before. What's his name? Byron or something like that?
John Ryder.
No, it's on Sky Sports in the UK.
Yeah. I mentioned at the beginning of the show too that there's also.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, Andrew Cancillo is also fighting on the zone. All right, listen. Michael, thank you for calling in. We got to move on. Try to set up that date for the first annual meeting of the Ryan Garcia fan club. I'll be there, of course, to lead and give the opening speech. I'll be the keynote speaker. So thanks again for calling in, Michael, all right?
All right, I'll keep in touch.
Fantastic. Take it easy. All right, we got Gonzalo on the line. Now, Gonzalo, I wanted to ask you something. Some people are talking that this fight is going to be a lot like the second Stiverne fight. He's going to get blasted out there, Ortiz that is. He's going to get blasted out easier and earlier than the first fight. What do you think? What are the chances of an upset for this fight?
The chances of an upset, I don't think so, but I think it does kind of play out similar to the first one, to the first Ortiz fight, where it goes rounds. I kind of give Ortiz like a 35% chance of giving us an upset, which is not that close to a 50%, but it still could be exciting. I like when I mentioned that it's gonna go like the first. Ortiz is gonna have his moment to where he's gonna make it exciting. He can possibly hurt Wilder. He'll do enough to trouble him because he got power with that right lead check hook. He throws a check hook, and he's got that straight left hand. To where I'm starting to believe, look, that Wilder, he loses some rounds on purpose or intentionally. Partly because he's not a great boxer, but he likes to get a read on his opponents. He demonstrates patience. While it's not a guarantee that he will win rounds against the people that he's lost them to, but he certainly has power to make some of those rounds competitive, and he's got the aggression, but he still loses them because I think he kind of uses like a rope a dope to where he tries to get a read on these guys, and then he tries to pick them apart with the right hand. But with that being said, I heard an interview where Germán Caicedo, the trainer of Ortiz, said he was telling him in Spanish, basically what Stu was saying, to close the distance, get inside from that right hand, because he needs that length. So he's gonna try to negate Wilder that distance. So he's gonna come in close. With that being said, he's gonna throw those two hands, that right and that right hook and that left straight. And I don't think Wilder's gonna be able to take him out because he's not gonna have that space because they've already fought each other. So if Ortiz puts the pressure, he's got a chance of doing something early while he's still got the energy. So yes, we can have an upset if he goes for the gusto early. But I think Wilder's he's the younger man by 6 years, so that's on his favor. I think he can weather the storm and tire Ortiz out later once again. So I think it'll go rounds.
Wilder, like I said, Wilder's most comfortable when he's good range where he can get that long right up hand go. And it's at a nice range where he's fucking doing a lot of damage when he's landing. But the thing with Wilder, he struggles to land it so because his footwork's always in the wrong places. His balance is wrong. That's what he don't look like he's ever going to polish up on that. And that's his problem. I think if he could get that right, he'd land more. But once he does get it right, because now and again he does get it right, and then when he lands, then fucking devastation follows. And I think with Wilder, he's just got to take his range from him, and he's just a very average fighter. All right, you might walk onto one, but you've got to fucking try and get inside. And once you're inside, do your work because there's nothing coming back from Wilder on the inside. He's not doing anything. He's just holding because he needs his room to let them long arms go. And when he's not in the right range, his technique's wrong. He's slapping his shots. And he looks horrible. But when you stand at a decent range like Dominic Brazil did, square on, with your fucking chin in the air, and you let him pull back that weapon and land clean on the button, it's sleepy sleep time. And I just feel that with Ortiz, just a bit too old, a bit too slow. He's going to end up, it's hard to concentrate for 36 minutes, even when you're a young fighter. I think he's going to walk onto one eventually, and I just think he's going to take the shots.
Gonzalo, can you turn off your AC, please?
Oh, yes.
Because I think that's in the background.
Yeah, there's a hum.
Okay.
And also, was it me or did Stu's audio sound a little bit more distorted than before?
I understood what he said.
Yeah, I get it too. But
I don't know. The point is that it's true, though, and we can basically say, what did Ortiz do wrong in the first fight? Was it more of what he did wrong or more of an issue of just the fact that he's old and he was slow?
He was chasing Wilder. He was chasing Wilder when he hurt him. And he was throwing shots out of range, lunging as well. And he was wasting a lot of energy trying to catch up to Wilder. And like I said, when he did get in the right distance, he was letting his hands go. But nothing was happening. It's like he kept landing. You think, he's gonna stop him in a bit. It's like Wilder wasn't affected by any of them shots. He was just hurt from the first one, sort of thing. Still hurt from that one. The other shots weren't seem to do anything, and it's just a bit alarming because I think any other heavyweight. If that Dillian White gets you hurt, then you're going to sleep. Joshua gets you hurt, you're going to sleep. Andy Ruiz the same. And I just feel with Ortiz, he just didn't have that in him. And that I think you need that to beat Wilder. You've got to knock Wilder out to beat him, I think.
Yeah, some people in the chat are saying that Ortiz gassed out from punching Wilder. Black Lomachenko says he faded. That's all. Okay, so people are saying that's because he got tired, but
He got
that may
tired
be
of
true.
throwing shots and missing a lot. You know, if you look at him, he got excited. He got Wilder hurt, and he got excited. And he was following him around the ring and lunging out
Yeah,
of
because he
range.
was winning that fight leading up to the 10th, including that 5th round knockdown.
Not on the official scorecards, but go ahead.
Not on the official, yes.
That's
I know. For sure. He was losing that. But look, he recovered well from that 5th round, and he hurt him on the 7th. Yeah, then he was following him around, but he still won the 8th and the 9th. They were close rounds. In the 10th, they both hurt each other. You know, even the announcer said, "Oh, you know, they simultaneously hit each other to where they're hurt." But Wilder, he threw him up against the he threw him against the ropes. He spun him and threw him. And I think that kind of also tired out the old man, because when he got up, Wilder threw like a lot of shots that Ortiz couldn't get away from. That's one thing, yeah, he does do. And when Wilder went for it, he landed like 4, 5, 6 shots, and that hurt Ortiz. And we got the 3rd knockout to where the referee called it off.
Wilder was telegraphing straight right hands down the pipe. He was loading up on them. So you could see them, and Ortiz could see them come. He just couldn't get out of the way of them. It's like, that's when you just, that's age, that is. When you just can't. That's why people say, "Oh, he doesn't move his head." He can't move his head. He's too fucking old. Do you know what I mean? That's just it. He's old enough and he's wise enough. He's seeing the shots coming. That's why he's not going to sleep, because he's seeing the shots coming. So he's bracing himself, but he just can't get out of the way of them. And like I said, if Wilder's telegraphing shots like that, then it doesn't look good for Ortiz if he can't get out of the way of them.
In the chat, Ken Kenishi saying illegal blows behind the head hurt Ortiz as well.
At the same time that he can't get away from the shots is partly due because he's keeping his eye on the target, and he's trying to land his own shots with that right and the left. So like, even though he got hurt in the 5th, he still was able to hold up until the 10th. So I think he can take Wilder's power. It's not a guarantee, but if he comes inside to like where you said, Stu, that he doesn't give him that distance, he's gonna land his own shots, and he's gonna walk through some of Wilder's right hand. So this is gonna make it exciting. I don't think he's just gonna drop with the first right hand that Wilder throws.
It depends, though. Depends if it lands. If one of them clean shots lands early, because if it lands, then he will be on the floor.
Because Ortiz he got that Cuban style counter puncher. He's a good boxer, and maybe he does like to utilize range against other opponents that are not as like long as how tall is Wilder? 6'6". You know, that got that power and that long right hand. But here it's to his by the advice of his coach, since he steps inside. He did that the first time, but he was following him around. But, you know, he was getting hit with right hands, but he was in distance to throw. Even Paulie Malignaggi was saying he's not losing his distance, even though when he's getting hit, because he was landing his own. So he was eating the right hands in order to stay in range to throw that right hook and that left straight.
You know, we're talking as if, I mean, it sounds a little bit as if this is the same Ortiz that fought Wilder in March of 2018. Like, we've seen what Ortiz had in that fight. Sure, he could have done some different things, you know, maybe not follow Ortiz around like some of you guys are saying. Sorry, not follow Wilder Ortiz around the ring. We're all giving our opinions on the first fight. But let's put this fight into perspective. This Ortiz, all right, that fought Wilder, it's no longer there. That is now, it's even a more piece of shit Ortiz. Like, let's look at his fucking fights.
That's true. That's a good point, because you know we didn't have to pay for that fight. We didn't have to pay for that fight, and that we might get a worse version of Ortiz, and we have to pay for that shit.
That's what I'm saying. We're talking as if this is a fresh Ortiz, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, what has the guy done since the Wilder? He's looked worse. He's looked horrible in every fight I've seen him in. And let's be real, he made Travis Kaufman look like fucking Usyk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It sounds as if we're being paid by the PBC and we're trying to sell this fight, because it looks very interesting what you guys are saying. You know, like as if there's a chance that Ortiz can win. But let's be honest, man. Even I'm looking at the odds here. Bet365. Deontay Wilder is a 7-1 favorite.
Oh,
all right. this is a pay-per-view fight. Why would you pay for a mismatch like this? I haven't like that. When you pay for mismatches like this, it reminds me of the Mayweather Robert Guerrero fights, Mayweather Ortiz fights like that. This fight is a mismatch.
Well,
all right.
Yeah, but Bucho, I mean, we can talk about Wilder. We often talk about his flaws, his glass chin, this and that, and then when he fights a guy that almost took him out in the first fight, now all of a sudden it's an awful fight. I'm just asking the question.
I understand what you're saying. That fight should have happened. The rematch should have happened right after the first fight, and we didn't get that. We got Ortiz fighting 3 times, looking like shit, and now he gets the rematch. And you can tell me all this bullshit about he's looking younger now with his new haircut and that training that he's eating asparagus or some shit. I don't give a shit.
Shit, I look 30 when I get a fresh haircut.
Yeah, it's a mirage, man. This guy's older.
On a positive note.
Yeah. Go ahead.
On a positive note, he went rounds. Did he fight 2 or 3 times?
Yeah,
he went rounds, and for an older man, to stay limber, it's good to stay active.
Oh yeah, you're
right.
He
knocked out Conjanu in the second round. Then
Great
he TKO'd Kaufman in 10 rounds, but he looked like shit throughout the whole fight. And then won a unanimous decision against Christian Hammer. Okay, he went some rounds, but is that enough to make us believe that he can beat Wilder?
The biggest problem here,
competitive.
The biggest problem is the hand speed. There's a big difference in hand speed here. If there was one in the first fight, then this one will be even more apparent. And I mean, I'm hoping that it won't be. I'm hoping that maybe now that Luis Ortiz is trimming down a little bit, he's not eating those Cuban sandwiches anymore, those Cuban hamburgers. Now maybe now he'll trim a little bit, but even then, like you guys are saying, he's still older now. He's probably older than they tell us. And that's the thing. They always say, "Oh, black don't crack. Black don't crack." Then when you get an old guy like this, I've heard some Wilder fans saying, "Oh, well, that's just because some black people look older." I mean, come on. Which one is it? Does black doesn't crack or black does crack? Come on. And also, the other thing is this. You guys were talking about what if... Because I even think Ortiz's trainer is saying, "Oh, I'm going to try to walk Wilder down." That's an interesting strategy because, okay, you get inside Wilder's right hand, and after that, in there, he can't really do that much, but like the 470 caller said, or 407, I forget. He said Ortiz doesn't move his head all that much. It's in a straight line because he's waiting for you to counter.
Once he's inside, he don't need to move his head because there's nothing coming back. What's Wilder throwing on the inside?
He can't fight.
No, but
he
what I'm
can't
saying,
fight on the inside. Can't fight shit on the inside.
what I'm saying is when he's coming in, he's not going to be moving his head.
I tell you what, he's worse than Vlad on the inside.
Oh yeah.
On the counter shot. That's since Wilder is very long. Let's say he hits him with the right hand, or he misses the right hand. By the time Wilder reincorporates himself, that's the opportunity to counter him. So if he's in there close to him, that's the moment. Yes.
But he's too slow for that, man. And I think I saw that in the first fight. I saw many moments where Ortiz had the right idea, was throwing the right punch at the right time, but he was just too slow.
Maybe that's probably why. Maybe that's why he's shedded a bit of weight, get a little bit more speed. You know, that could be the reason.
Or just he's old as fuck. It doesn't matter how much weight he loses. That's
but the funny thing is, when you're Ortiz age, I mean, you could look in great shape, but that shows up, man. Your age just ends up showing up. You could like train hard. You can
Go on. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, Stu. The thing about being Ortiz age, even if he is really 41, whatever age they have him in BoxRec, right? Whatever that age is, he's still he's still an older man, and he can come in with the right ideas. Like, I'm gonna be in great shape. He's got to capitalize early. The longer it goes, listen, Wilder's not fat. I mean, I know we don't like Wilder, but he's probably got the best build in terms of height and how much weight he packs, right? Like 6'6", 225. I mean, that's fucking like very little body fat. So it's not like he's going up against a guy who's young but doesn't have the best shape. So, I mean, he can come in great shape all he wants. He's still 40 plus years of age, and I can't see him beating out. Having more endurance than Wilder. That's not going to happen.
Well, this is why I kept hearing about this Ben Davison tactical performance, this the genius tactician Ben Davison. I thought it was horrible tactics. He nearly lost that fight. He nearly got KO'd in the last round. A fight that he was dominating. I mean, let's be real. If he didn't do that in the last round, Wilder wouldn't even got the draw on his own term. So he brought down himself by giving Wilder the opportunity to get it right and land that shot. You've got to take it to Wilder. He panics. When Wilder's hurt and he's got shots coming his way, he panics. He's not a cool, calm, collective guy that rides the storm, and gets back into shape. He's not that guy. He fucking panics. He holds. He starts fouling. And you've got to take it to him earlier. You can't be hovering around trying to out-jab the guy for 36 minutes. Because you'll end up what happened to Tyson Fury. Luckily for Tyson Fury, he managed to just get up in time. Another day, another ref. It could have fucking, it could have been a KO loss for him. They're just a second away, let's just say. So, and he brought that on himself by pissing around with poor tactics. So I don't want to hear about Ben Davison's tactics. This is why I think the Fury, John Fury, was not very happy with Ben Davison. I think they had a bit of a row, and it hasn't come out why. But my guess is because he was fucking horrified by the tactics. You've got a fucking killer in there. It's like you're sitting there fucking waving in front of him while he's got his scope on you. I mean, you just get. You get out of sight, you get out of range, and you take your arsenal to him. And I just think Fury got it all wrong, and he was very lucky.
But if Ortiz is gonna do that, if he's going to try to walk Wilder down, he's gonna have to feint. I said that also before the first fight. We were talking about, because we did a film analysis for that one way back in 2018, and we said feint, because like you said, Stu, Wilder is a very jittery guy. He tends to panic when you start, because he's not technically sound, and since he doesn't have that technical
Spilka.
He does, bro.
Exactly.
He panics. What he'll do, he reacts. So when you feint, he reacts, and because he panics, he just throws a shot, and his feet are off balance. He's in a terrible place for a counter shot, and he's there for the taking. It's just that he's not fought anyone with the skills or the know-how. And Fury's the only guy that he has, but Fury just doesn't have that offense. It's all about defense, all about looking slick and looking pretty. And Fury got it.
Although
wrong.
I think he has it. That's another topic, but I do think he has it. He just doesn't want to use it.
Well, yeah, same thing though, bro. If it's all right having it. It's like having a fucking $1 million in the bank. And then,
Yeah.
Tyson Fury pissed that away.
Yeah.
The more I look at that fight, sometimes I watch it, right? The more I look at it, Tyson Fury pissed that fight away. He could have really done some damage to Wilder, because here's the thing about Wilder. Wilder's a sniper. You don't fight a sniper at his game. He wants to shoot you from long range. You make him come to the ground and you have a shootout with him. That's what you do. Roy Jones was the same thing. Roy Jones was a sniper. He shocked you when he caught you with punches you didn't see coming. Your body goes into shock. That's what Wilder does. But when you got Roy Jones into a shootout, you see his punches coming, he's in trouble, right? Roy would be in trouble in most of those fights.
He's an ambush fighter. Wilder is. He's an ambush fighter. He waits for you
ambush.
He waits for you to make an error.
Those...
Waits for you to get in range, get in sight, and he throws a big bomb. And if it lands, you're in all sorts of trouble. But he's a bit like David Haye in his prime. That's how David Haye used to fight. He was a sniper, an ambush fighter sort of thing. It'd give you a false sense of security, and then he'd come in with a big shot. But same with David Haye, he'd also fold when he was under pressure. And I find that with Wilder as well. I think, like you said, because he panics, he makes a lot of mistakes, and that's when he's at his worst, and that's when you got to take him. You let him get into some sort of comfortable range, comfortable fighting pace, he's not going to run out of steam anytime soon, unless you hurt him. So, if you do that, then you're in big trouble, because he's going to get it right eventually. He's got 36 minutes to get it right, and I guarantee you he'll get the fucking thing right. So, you need to take that away from him.
It's interesting. Go ahead, Gonzalo. Sorry.
No, I'm just going to say, that's what Ortiz needs to do. Those first 3 rounds in that first fight, I know this is the first time they had fought and it's like the study rounds where they're trying to get a read on each other. He needs to really take it to Wilder and try to utilize his him being fresh because he's the older guy to try to do something early because he already got that read on him. And Stu was saying that he gets nervous and he expels a lot of nervous energy and he's kind of awkward. At the same time, if you're a good fighter, you can capitalize on that. If you're experienced,
Carlo, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say nervous. He gets jittery. Like I said,
the nervous energy it kind of helps him against guys that aren't so seasoned, but against the guys that are more that could prove to be they know what they're looking for. They can capitalize on that.
That's a good point.
He reacts to feints, and that's why he was struggling with Fury because Fury's constantly feinting. He reacts, and that's when he ends up throwing out of range and comes well short, and he leaves himself wide open counter shots. And that's why the better fighters have got to be doing this. They've got to be fucking landing those shots on him.
This is what I think real fast. What I think Wilder's gonna do, and he's gonna do early. He's gonna try to go to town on Ortiz as soon as that clapper goes off. As soon as you got like 10 seconds, 15 seconds left in the round, he's going to try to do that because he's going to try to save himself in case he gets countered to where he can go to his corner. When it's early, you don't think so, BDA?
No. I'm saying that it's interesting. It's an interesting tactic because he did sort of try to finish strong against Fury too in certain rounds when it was 10 seconds left.
Yes, the lack of boxing skills and the fact that he relies on his power, he's going to try to hurt him at the end of each round because he's going to be confident thinking, if you don't hurt me back when we got a few seconds left, I'm just going to use that to my do that for myself. Yeah.
You know what? It's interesting. I wanted to touch on a couple of things. I mentioned the Ortiz that he needs to feint Wilder. In fact, if you look at the first fight, he did sort of when Gonzalo said in those early rounds when they were trying to study each other, those feel-out rounds, there were certain parts where Ortiz was feinting Wilder and he was hitting him with good right jabs, but then he forgot. Why did he forget? My theory is not only is because of course he got clocked early on in the fight, but also because this is what happens when you fight an unorthodox fighter like Wilder. You see him with his chin up, his hands down sometimes, and you think, oh, I can catch him. If I load up, I'm going to catch him with something. And that's what happens. It's a trap. I don't know if Wilder does it intentionally. I don't think so. But nevertheless, it does seem to work. These guys go in there, they try to load up, and before you know it, they're getting sloppy and they fall into Deontay Wilder's game. Also, Recognize made the good point of Wilder being a little bit like Roy Jones. I know people are going to say, there's probably people that misunderstood his point and they're going to say, wait, he's not saying he's Roy Jones. I will say this also. He's a little bit like Manny Pacquiao, especially early Manny Pacquiao, where a lot of people didn't know who he was. They stepped in there, they see this little Filipino guy. You don't think he hits that hard, but man, he closes the distance quickly, and when he lands with that power shot, you're down. And it's the same thing with Wilder.
They're fighters that love the shock value of catching you with a punch out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Those are guys that are called snipers. What does a sniper do? He shoots you from far. You don't see the bullet coming, right? It's like that's why they use that term. You're 100% right. He's not Roy Jones. I'm not saying that, but his thing is to, when he hits you, is to freeze you. It's like throwing you in cold water when you're not expecting it, right? I just throw you in some fucking cold water. Yeah. So your body goes into shock, and that's what they're looking for. The way to beat those guys, I think there's blueprints. I mean, Tyson Fury kind of showed that. To an extent, even Gerald Washington for the first 3 or 4 rounds, he kind of showed like a way to neutralize Deontay Wilder. You can do it. The problem is that I don't think Ortiz has the stamina to do it. I'm saying his best bet is to go out, just go for the kill for the first 3 to 5 rounds. Just go for it. But at the same time, he's leaving himself open to get caught with a big shot as well.
Exactly, brother. And then, like I said, them tactics you said about Gerald Washington and Tyson Fury, the tactics they use, yeah, they did work. But what happened in the end? One was asleep, and the other one's fucking still got concussion now. So at the end of the day, it looked good for a while. But I'm talking about 36-minute fight here, and it's just not going to work. Fighting on the back, trying to out jab this guy and outbox him, because he will make a lot of mistakes, and you will outbox him because he loses rounds. Let's be real. Wilder loses most rounds he's in, but when it matters, he comes up with the big shots. And I think that's, you got to take it early to him. You got to shock him. You got to take his range from him, and I think you'll see this guy fall to pieces. And that'd be my tactics. It's all good looking pretty on the back foot, mate, but you're not going to look pretty when you're waking up and the doctor's above you. Do you know what I'm saying? You're in a hospital room.
That's a good point.
The pretty footwork don't mean anything then, does it?
That's a very good point. Now, also, we're talking about how Ortiz has to get on the inside. When he did get past Ortiz's right hand, the Wilder's right hand, particularly when he hurt him. I don't know if you guys remember, but he got real close, and there was a point where he had Wilder on the ropes, and Wilder tried to clinch him, and Ortiz dug in with a couple of uppercuts to the body. And I remember rewatching that part and saying, what if he gets on the inside and consistently works that body? Because of Wilder's thin, wiry frame, can he take body shots across a long distance in a fight? What do you guys think? Because nobody's really done it.
I think he's still strong in that core. He's just like physically gifted. I think Recognize was saying that. And he's got aggression too. I believe if he starts going to town on the body, I think he'll throw him down similar to what he did in the 10th round. He'll clinch, and then he'll use a little bit of illegal tactics. He'll utilize that aggression.
I see Tyson Fury hitting with some body shots, and he was reacting in a way that they were hurting, and he looked in trouble for a bit. It looked like he could. There was times in there that it looked like it could be stopped, where he was getting hit with body shots, and then Fury was putting it on him. I just don't think Fury did that enough. He didn't throw to the body enough. I think Wilder is quite vulnerable to the body. Everyone's vulnerable to the body when you get hit with a clean shot. And
Wait, you said
that's right.
Wait. You said you saw Wilder. You saw Wilder giving in a little bit against Tyson Fury when he got hit to the body.
In that 12th round, I believe, when Wilder dropped Fury got up and it started, and Fury hit Wilder with a real big body shot, and it took the life out of Wilder, and he just went on the back foot, and he looked like he was about to go, and then Tyson.
I remember that. Yeah.
Do you remember that? Recognize?
Yeah. It started from the body, then went upstairs, and that's why. Look, this is why I say, man, fucking Fury blew it, man. He blew
it.
Yeah, exactly. He blew it. Because I really think that the way he outboxed him, come on, why not knock him out? Why not drop him? I mean, you were hitting him at will. Yes, I know that Deontay Wilder, you got to be careful with him, but he got dropped over stupid shit, like just losing track of the punches because of stupid, unnecessary.
Let's be real. Wilder was starting to flag. He's starting to look like he was, like I said, ready to go, and getting off and letting him get breathers. I mean, like I said, Ben Davison's tactics were terrible. I keep hearing about this tactical fucking genius. I mean, get out of here, man. If I'd have been in, I'll tell you what, if I'd have been in that chair that night, Tyson Fury wouldn't even need a rematch because it would have been a devastating KO win.
I would have
I'd have pushed Fury Wilder early.
I would have conveyed the message like, yo, you can hit him at will. Why don't you start punching him hard? Why don't you start putting some mustard on that shit? You're hitting him at will.
Too much respect for Wilder's power, man.
But hold on, let's revisit that. Was he really hitting Wilder at will? Because Wilder does have an unorthodox style. It's not like you can hit him whenever, and the other thing is, I'll just say this, Tyson Fury lacked a good right hand in that fight. He was sort of like pawing with that right hand. He couldn't catch Wilder.
When I say at will, meaning I could hit you more than you can hit me.
Oh, okay. I got you.
That's like, well, no, that's the definition a trainer will tell you.
He was,
to start realizing that, right? Your trainer is there to give you the honest truth about what's going on. So he'll see you going in the ring with somebody, and if he sees you outlanding your opponent 2-1, he'll say phrases like, "You can hit him at will." What he's trying to tell you to do is, you can hit him at will. Either two things: keep that pace that you're doing because you can hit him at will, or he feels that the other guy's vulnerable, and he says you can hit him at will, pick up the pace. It's called picking it up. You know.
Third option. Start clowning around.
Right. Start clowning around. See how that works out for you.
Yeah, exactly what it did, right? I got you. But you know, it's interesting because Stu mentioned that about the body shots and in the 12th round, and Bucho sort of he's been speaking about that whenever we bring that fight up about how in the last round Tyson Fury hit the deck hard. He almost hit the deck almost as hard as Bucho does on a Saturday night after a good little binge of drinking. But Fury did get up and he was walking Wilder down by the end. So Bucho, let me ask you this. I mean, do you think Ortiz, we talked about the risk of moving forward, but do you think he can do some damage if he gets inside and starts digging to the body?
Fatality.
Of course, man. Yeah, he has no inside game. The thing is, can he get in the inside? Is he fast enough? He has no head movement, as you were saying. So he's going to have to get through those wild punches. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, maybe. But go ahead, recognize.
No, I was going to say something really, really interesting point about, you know, how he got up and he was hitting Wilder, right? And he even got Wilder in some trouble, right? Like he actually got him in some trouble where Wilder kind of had to hold on. What does that tell you, right? When he picked up the pace, he can hit him more than the other way around. Now, the hardest thing to do to a fighter, and maybe even for Fury is even harder, is to make him have to pick up the pace. Now, in this situation, he got knocked down, so he had to, right? He was like, look, I don't pick up the pace. This dude's he's gonna start swinging big punches, and if I don't give him any resistance, maybe one of those big punches land and I'm out of it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to get your fighter to say, look, pick up the pace with some urgency like he did in the final half of the 12th round, right? That's what you're looking for. So when people say, look, he could knock him out, he could hurt him, he could drop him, he could have did better. That's what we're talking about. The problem is getting him to that urgency to need to pick up the pace so he can catch Wilder with some shots that makes him stop and think. Because when you get Wilder to stop and think, you can outbox him and maybe even drop him.
That's a good point.
By the way, I want to remind people that the phone lines are open, and we will definitely be talking more about Fury and Wilder if that fight happens. But like going back to Ortiz and Wilder, is Luis Ortiz a tune-up fight? Since we know that Wilder and Fury should be facing each other in February, I believe. So is Ortiz a tune-up fight? And who pays for a tune-up fight?
It's kind of like unfinished business. But with that being said, it's 1 year later, and that one guy's 40, Ortiz.
Yeah, and
it's an exciting fight.
1, I mean, I'm looking at the odds. Wilder should knock him out. What unfinished business is that, though? I mean, is it because Ortiz hurt Wilder? Is that why this fight?
Because that stupid rule.
Yeah, just shout out to G Boogie who donated for the super chat, and he says Deontay Wilder reminds me of an out of control bulldozer with his swinging wide punches. Yeah, he sort of does an out of control type vehicle. Shout out to G Boogie for his contribution. Thanks a lot, man. And sorry, who was saying something? It was Gonzalo or Bucho?
Gonzalo.
Yeah, that stupid unwritten rule, or what was it that they all of a sudden made up, and is it still standing, that rule?
Which rule is that?
Something about I'm not even too sure what it was about, but they had to check on the guy because now is this fight again in New York where that same rule applied? Oh, okay.
No.
It was like a New York rule. I don't know too much about it, but I'm pretty sure you guys remember.
Yeah, but what I understand is ended. Wilder was hurt, but the round ended. And then right after he got up, right? Is that what?
Yeah, Bucho. That's what happened.
So why couldn't the doctor check on Wilder while he was in his corner?
That's the controversy of that. Look, I'm not going to read too much into it, but, he's the A side. It is what it is. There's a possibility that they thought they needed to buy him some time. Not that made all the difference, because look, I'm not going to say it's insignificant. That's not fair to say that, but that was the controversy. Because who knows? Maybe he's really hurt badly. He can't finish the game. Right?
So Wilder fans were saying that it was a clear victory from Wilder. There was no controversy. Now that we have the rematch, oh well, there's a score to settle. Well, what score is that then?
Well, because like these fans, like most fans, right? When you fanboy too hard for a fighter, you end up contradicting yourself. You see, they felt that there was no controversy, but their idol, Wilder, does. So what do? Do you backtalk your master? No. You go by what he says. He says that the fucking sky is black today, then the sky is black. That's that.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
They don't have his fans don't have their own opinion. Their opinion is what Wilder thinks. So I'm talking about the fanboys that dick ride too hard. I'm talking about them.
Go ahead.
Well,
some Wilder fans don't feel like there was any controversy, and I don't really think there was controversy too much. But yeah, they feel like there's no need for this fight, but it is what it is.
The Butcher, you were going to say something?
And also in the 10th round, when I think Ortiz said that Wilder is a dirty fighter, when they both hurt each other at the same time, like I had mentioned, Wilder threw Ortiz really hard against the ropes, and then when he got up, that's when Wilder took him out. So that was kind of illegal because they were both hurt, but then one guy grabbed the other and threw him really hard to the ground. You guys recall that, right?
Yeah. Can we give Wilder any credit though for this win? If he wins this Saturday, can we say anything good about this? Like, what can we say though?
He beat up an old man, similar like to Canelo, even older.
Well, supposedly Ortiz is. They're saying, I don't know if this is true or not. The weight that he weighed in 241.5 pounds when against Wilder in the first fight. Supposedly he's been as light as 217 for this one. Is that? Maybe I'm reading that wrong. That's on Boxing Scene.
Fucking way, man.
Hold on, let me put that article up.
You read that? Yeah,
it says the weight was just a quarter pound of the career high of 240.5 pounds. Meanwhile, he's been as light as 217 for a first round stoppage of Jose Santos Peralta. But wait, I mean, who's Jose Santos?
Okay, that was like what?
Yeah, that was a Jose Santos Peralta. Yeah, that was in 2012, man. Come on.
Yeah, no, but I forgot what I was gonna say. But Wilder, he's been putting on weight though. I mean, I don't know. I saw those preview shows by PBC Fox on YouTube, and he looks like he's putting on more muscle. If you guys remember when Wilder fought Tyson Fury, he weighed in at how much was it? 217 or 211?
216. 216 officially. I think he came in at 211 or 209.
Yeah, exactly. But he then claimed that he came in at 211. So that's light as hell, man. Now
I believe it. And what I've always said, what I've always said about Wilder, what's his best weight?
220.
225. 220. To me, 225 because he's 6'6" or 6'7" or something, right?
Yeah.
I think he's deadlier. Now there's probably a little something in there. I wouldn't be surprised, but that's his best. If he's gonna need that to fight guys like I even say Fury. Yes, he knocked Fury down at 212 or 210, whatever his weight was. But I think if he had 225, there's a good chance maybe Fury don't get back up.
Yeah, good point.
I gotta ask you guys. I wanted to ask you guys. We're talking about how Wilder, he probably has better stamina than Ortiz, because Ortiz is most than likely he's probably 47 years old or something. But how good is Deontay Wilder's stamina? Because against Tyson Fury, he was very jittery, and that seemed to tire him out in the 12 rounds. And he wasn't even doing that much. I mean, he was missing. That will take a lot out of you, but it's not like he's going out there throwing 70, 80 punches a round. Which
exactly. Yeah.
He's
his
never
stamina is as good as his pace. Basically, that's it. It's just,
exactly as good as the pace you put on him, and he's not fighting anyone that brings a pace. Name one. I mean, when was the last time you fought a guy like Derek Chisora that just sits on the chest and roughs you up, makes you work for fucking 3 minutes around? He's not fighting guys like that. He's fighting guys that are less active than he is.
guys,
And that
there's a
includes
reason why he's not fighting these guys. Stu, there's a reason. I'm telling you. I'm not saying he can't beat them. He could, but it's like, is it worth the risk? These guys pose huge problems. The Chisoras, Dillian White.
Maybe that's what they see in Dylan White. That's probably why they just don't want him anywhere near Deontay Wilder, because Dylan White is quite busy, and he's a big puncher as well. You know, he lands that left hook. If he gets that left hook right, then Wilder's going
it could be all over right there
for a flat. Yeah. So maybe they see that, and like I said, the work rate, and I think Deontay Dillian White would fight that way against Wilder. I think he'd rough him up and take it to
And
war.
there's something about mentality too, Stu. Like when you're afraid to get knocked out versus a guy who's not because he's already been knocked out, it kind of fucks with you. It does, because it could work for you, but if things go wrong, man, it could start working really bad for you. It's also like the person you're facing again. If you really don't like him, the worst thing you want to do is lose to that guy. That's like if it starts fucking with your head, and they're probably saying, look, man, let's put Wilder in situations. Not that Wilder can't beat these guys. I think he could. But let's start putting him in situations. Let's put him for now situations where we think that, the perfect style is Ortiz. It's Brazil. It's guys like that. Instead of, the Dillian Whites of the world, the Chisora, especially a guy like Dillian White, a guy he doesn't like, right? Would it be fair to say that, Wilder doesn't like him, and he doesn't like Wilder either? So
very fair to say.
Hey, Mr. BDA.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a phone call.
Alrighty, hold on a second. All right, let's see. I think we know who this is. 585, you're on the air. 585.
How you guys doing? This is Vince.
Oh, Vinny, how you doing, baby?
What's up, baby boy?
I'm doing very well, Mr. Pucho. I have a little gripe with you, though.
Come on.
From your previous podcast, you said something that really made me upset.
Okay.
Come on.
I would never do that to you, but go ahead.
Yes, you were disrespecting Mr. Deontay Wilder by saying he's a knockout ready to happen. Please elaborate, please.
Please elaborate, please. Well, listen, I'll put it to you this way.
Talking about Bucho.
Yeah.
Oh, he's talking about. Well, he said, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Technical difficulties.
Well,
here.
he likes defense, and you can see he's way open when he throws those wild shots. I think he's a knockout waiting to happen. We saw glimpse of that with the Ortiz first fight, in the first fight, and in that 12th round again when he fought Fury, he was clinching, holding over for dear life. If I just basically think that he's a knockout waiting to happen.
Bad defense, Vinny. Bad defense.
Yeah, basically, bad defense. Just that's it.
Okay, are we all in agreement here that Mr. Deontay Wilder has a granite chin?
Not a granite chin.
He has
a good chin.
He has a good chin. I have to admit.
Okay, I'll give you that one, Mr. Bucho. I'll give you that one.
Oh, he'll give it to you.
Also, I
That's
just
great.
want to yes, I'll give you that one, Mr. Bucho. I was really upset and I was going to call last week, but I decided not to and just keep listening.
Well, thank you.
Great.
Very respectful of you, Vinny. Very respectful. Who are you picking for this rematch? What's your prediction?
Yes, my prediction is this will end. Mr. Luis King Kong Ortiz is not going to see the 7th round. Mr. Deontay Wilder will have knockout number 41, and I will be celebrating, and all the other Bronx Bombers will be celebrating with me. Also, I would like to let everyone know.
I'm-
I hope you guys saved your money. Yes, it's $75. So, you know, don't go out.
Yeah, I will
fucking
stream it.
friends
I will
or
stream it.
nothing like that, guys.
All right.
I'm gonna be
Please
watching
do not
that fight
stream
for
Mr.
free.
Recognize.
Hey, Vinny, how many
You're one of
pay-per-view
those
buys is
hockey
this fight
fans
gonna
I
make?
cannot stand, sir. Can you repeat that, Mr. Buccio?
How many
Versus Mr.
pay-per-view buys
BDA.
is this fight gonna make?
How many pay-per-view fights? How many pay-per-view buys is this fight gonna make? Yeah, that's what I'm fucking.
Yes. I predict this will do maybe, I would say, 300 to 500,000, maybe even more than that, because Mr. Deontay Wilder is a superstar of the highest order, guys.
That's right.
I say he makes 200,000 max.
I think it's gonna.
Okay,
anyways.
Mr. Recognize, you're on for that one. If you lose this bet, I will be calling you out on the podcast.
You, if
I'll
any,
be
and-
waiting for that one, Vinny. Thank you.
Hey, Vinny, and if anybody else disrespects Wilder, you will be taking names, right?
Yes, I'm actually waiting for your infamous list, Mr. Buccio, so I can pause it when this goes on the archives, and I can copy everyone's name down who picks Mr. Ortiz.
All right. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for calling
Hey,
in.
what's your
Vinny,
hold on,
Vinny, I'm gonna be
Vinny.
watching the fight. Vinny, I'm gonna be watching the fight for free. How do you feel about that?
To be honest with you, Mr. Recognize, you're the reason why Mr. Deontay Wilder doesn't have a million pay-per-views. So I kind of despise you right now, and
Thank you.
I hope you save
Appreciate
your
that.
$75 because I would want you to press that buy now button. Okay,
My pussy
it's on the
hurts.
Fox Sports app, guys. Yes.
My pussy hurts. I can barely walk some days.
All right, listen. So recognize. What about any parting words for Vinny before we let him go?
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Oh,
Anyway,
come on.
we gotta move on.
Yeah, we got. Wait, hold on. What's your prediction for the fight? Just give us a round.
Yes. Mr. Ortiz gets knocked out in the 6th round, and then Wilder does his little dance, and he puts his crown back on, and he calls out Mr. Tyson Fury. WWE will not save you this time, sir. Thank you.
There you go.
All right. Thanks for
All
the
right,
call.
that was Vinny Mac, the one and only. Thank you, Vinny, for calling in. Recognize polite as always. I like how he just keeps. I like how Recognize just keeps antagonizing every caller that's in here. Oh, man.
I like
All right.
Vinny Mac.
We need Honcho to call, man.
Yeah, we do need.
Honcho's afraid of me. Honcho's afraid of me.
Nah, I don't think. I don't think
Who
so, man.
else?
He sounds like a pretty tough guy to me. Listen, in regards to, they're talking about.
Sounds like a little cupcake.
Oh, come on. Well, I think he sounds like he's been eating too many cupcakes. But anyway, the point is, here's a comment that people are saying on Boxing 24. Somebody says that Ortiz apparently made a statement saying that he will gladly give Wilder a third fight after he knocks him out. And somebody in the comment section said, more money for the Wilder fight and a shot at revenge because he's a man of pride. Too bad that there's not more people like Ortiz. Booyah! Don't worry. After Ortiz knocks Wilder out, let's see if he can beat Luis. And if he does, let's see if he would want to unify with the new WBA champ. So that brings up a pretty good point about, because this fight is not happening in a vacuum. There are larger implications here because in less than a month, Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua will get it on again, this time in Saudi Arabia. The hope is that one of these guys would fight. Because again, you never know. Wilder is supposed to fight Tyson Fury. That's what they're talking about. Then again, they were supposed to rematch each other this year and it didn't happen. So maybe the second fight never happens early next year. What if Joshua, let's say he wins and he beats Luis? He decides, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm gonna after this fight, I'm going straight for the Wilder Ortiz 2 winner. Or maybe if Ruiz wins, he goes straight to Deontay Wilder and they bypass Tyson Fury. So yeah.
Joshua already said that after the Ruiz fight, he will take on a sort of a tune-up fight.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You did tell me. I think it was you who told me that. I mean, what is Anthony Joshua's really disappointing. Okay, yeah, he's taken on the best opposition compared to these guys, but
I don't know what a tune-up fight means for him. Like a bum, like a top.
Has to be like a super
30, top 40 fighter.
Yeah,
maybe a
in
Derek
London
Chisora
or something.
Maybe he takes on a Derek Chisora type fighter.
No, Chisora's good, man. I wouldn't call him a bum. I wouldn't say he's elite, but you know,
No, he's a bum now. At this point, he's not.
Well, bum. I mean,
what was he? What was he before? I mean,
I don't like to use the
contender?
word
he
bum.
was always one of those solid mid-level fighters, bro. Like a top 20 at best.
Listen, okay, but after AJ wins, which I think he will, but you never know, right? He's the champion again. It's gonna be sort of as if nothing really happened. You know what I mean? And then he's gonna have this tune-up fight in the UK for sure, like the comeback of the king with his crown,
right?
And so people will accept this fight.
You know, but I don't trust AJ's chin. So a guy like Chisora,
I tell you what, I don't trust. I don't trust Anthony Joshua's demeanor. In fact, that's what I wanted to ask. You know,
that's
Gonzalo,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
But Gonzalo, are you there? I wanted to ask him something.
Yes.
Okay, Gonzalo, you've been in combat. You've seen a little action. You've been inside as well for a couple of days, a couple of weeks. You've been in your share of street fights. I'm pretty certain that you're the type of guy that can look at somebody and say, okay, this guy, he's got it, or he doesn't have that type of, like, that rage inside of him. When you look at Anthony Joshua, do you think he's got the mental fortitude to get into a slugfest? Because, I mean, he did it against Dylan White to a certain extent, but, I mean, what do you think? Does he have mental fortitude?
Yeah, he does. He got heart. But the thing is, he can't deal with fast fighters. When he fought the smaller Parker, who's got some speed, right? He's pretty nimble. Joshua didn't show that strength. He looked very hesitant. He looked kind of shook at moments. And same thing happened with Andy Ruiz. You know, when he started unleashing those fast combinations, when Ruiz started letting his hands go, Joshua couldn't deal with that. So there's a difference between the lack of fortitude and the ability to fend somebody off that brings that certain style. And I think he's mentally he's a smart and he's preparing himself well. But in that department, it's just against Ruiz, the rematch is, to me, it shouldn't be the first thing that he should have done.
With Joshua, I see a lot of shades of early Vladimir Klitschko, a specimen of a man that looked good when he was knocking people out. But as soon as punches start to come back, that's when it all starts to fall apart, sort of thing. And that's what's happened with Joshua. I mean, for him...
Yeah, with Klitschko, the power was great. And he got dropped to where he got up. He was able to pick his big body off the canvas.
Joshua got up as well. It was the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
With Klitschko, he managed to adapt. He managed to make changes and adapt to a style that would help him in the future. Because obviously this is a guy that doesn't take a very good shot. He knew that. So he got a start that made it really hard for you to land that shot. It was boring at times, but it was effective. Joshua, I just don't see Joshua having that Vladimir Klitschko jab, that sort of style. I don't think he's got that boxing brain. And I think as soon as he tries to fight on the back foot, that's when he gets into bother because he's just too slow.
If I'm Joshua, I'd rather take from the scale from 1 to 10. I'd rather take a 10 from Klitschko than 3 8s from Ruiz, because those three 8s I can't get my brain together again to shoot back. You know, to where he didn't get knocked out cold, but he just couldn't. He got dropped and got up and he couldn't get himself together. So if he got knocked out by Klitschko with from a 1 to 10 a 10. He was able to get his shit together, reorganize his brain. But with 3 8s from the scale to 1 to 10 that Ruiz threw, it was too much. It's kind of like Pacquiao as you at the edge of the cliff.
You know, it's interesting because I was rewatching the Joshua Luis fight, and the first time Joshua went down, he gets up, he starts smiling. That's never a good sign to me when a guy's laughing, and it's sort of like that goofy, like laughter. And also the other thing is, when the stoppage came, or right before, he went to his corner, and there was a big pause. I mean, they counted to 8. He got up, walks to his corner. That's an extra 2-3 seconds. Then he puts his arms on the corners, on the ring ropes. He just starts looking at the ref. It's almost like he's not answering back, and then that's when the ref stopped it, and he's going, "Well, wow, why are you stopping the fight?" But he just looked out of it. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Does he have that mental fortitude? And I tell you what, Deontay Wilder, I got this little theory. I'll say it right here. I think he's actually much more stronger. I mean, yeah, he's jittery and all that because he doesn't have that Joshua technique, but I just think he's crazier than Joshua, and by virtue of that,
get knocked out. That's what he's going to
sometimes
get
your
knocked out.
mental can help you. Like if you're
Can I
kind of
just get in
crazy.
here? Can I just get in here? I said about Joshua looking like an early Vlad, the way he was getting hurt and wobbled all over the place. I've got people in the chat, Nordic Warriors having a pop saying, "Oh, nothing like prime Vlad." For a start, I never said prime Vlad. I said early Vlad. And then he said, "Well, early Vlad was a monster that kept getting fucking sparked out.
Oh.
He was getting beat by
Corey
bums."
Sanders, man. Corey fucking
Yeah,
Sanders.
Corey.
He was
no,
good.
come
Corey
on now.
Sanders.
He had stamina issues, though, like severe stamina issues also.
Vlad had to change his style up. Anyone that can't see that, then I don't know what they're fucking seeing. He had to change his style. He couldn't, and that's how Joshua is. You know, early Vlad when he used to come in there just throwing bombs and get caught with silly shots and then be all over the place. And I saw shades of that in him. But I don't think Joshua's got the skills to do what Vlad did, and that's change his style and become very defensive and hard to hit.
Nordic Warriors says Vladimir losses were all controversial, other than Saunders, who he underestimated. Okay. Wait, what about Lamont Brewster? Was that his name?
Yeah, Lamont Brewster.
Yeah. It was controversial.
Yeah, I think didn't Vladimir say that he felt weak going into that fight, and there was
Chris Burr said that when he fought Klitschko, they put something in Klitschko's gloves. I mean, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, and then Klitschko also said in the Lamont Brewster fight that he said that they rubbed too much Vaseline and it clogged his pores. I mean, come on, what's next? He wore too much makeup too and also clogged his pores in the face. Come on, he's just
Klitschko was a great fighter, but
but
then again, go ahead, Stu. Go ahead.
The Stuart Klitschko was a great fighter. The early Vlad, he was a train wreck. Let's be real.
Why did he have to bring Emmanuel Stewart? Go ahead, Stu.
Yeah, well, you just said that. Why did he have to get Emmanuel Stewart? Because he knew he wasn't going to last long. If he'd lost 3 fights already at that time, right? How many fights do you think he would have lost if he hadn't changed things up? Because he's a bit like Tommy Morrison at the time. He's all right when he lands first, then yeah. But if someone else lands first, then it's all over, sort of thing. And because Vlad doesn't have that chin, shall we say, he had to adapt a different sort of style. And I don't think Josh was that boxing.
Yes, I was gonna say Lamont Brewster. I think he got dropped, and then Vladimir tired out to where when Vladimir fell to the canvas, it was due to fatigue. And I think it's the thing with these big, muscular, gigantic guys. You know, the harder they are, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Same thing goes for Joshua. In the later rounds, if you can't do what Emmanuel Stewart taught Klitschko, and basically it basically what Stu's saying, you got to use that jab and be able to clinch. If you can't do this against a guy that's going to push you into deep waters, you're going to start having to deal with your own issues as far as stamina when you're a big guy.
But it's interesting that, first of all, Nordic Warrior says Vlad was dominating Brewster, easily smacked him around the ring, and then suddenly collapsed. He was drugged. So did the drug take effect after the ass kicking? Or because if he was drugged before, you would have expected him to be drugged from the beginning, as opposed to him slapping Brewster around. So I mean, I don't see any evidence. The guy tired out. He tired out against Ross Purity too before that. So I mean, I don't buy this. I got to see a little bit more evidence.
That's why he started cheating. He started to be more conservative with his punches, right? Because he was always afraid of getting super tired, and his style became clinch. Anyways, go ahead.
Let's not forget that Klitschko was about 6'5" and 240 pounds. I mean, he was a big muscle-bound dude, so that tires you out if you're throwing 60, 70, 80
He was
punches.
just like Joshua, the way he fought and everything. It was just very similar. It was, but it was very exciting at the time. That was an exciting Vlad to watch, but it was never going to be a Vlad that went on to become the Vlad that we know, that the legend, the Hall of Famer. I mean, I just think if he hadn't changed things up, if he hadn't gone with Emmanuel Stewart, he'd have had double figures of defeats.
Some people reach their prime later on in their careers after a loss here and there because of mistakes. Look, when it comes to the drugging thing, I heard about it back then. Let's not forget, man. Look, I'm not saying this is what happened, but let's not forget this stuff happens in boxing. Go read The Sweet Science Goes Sour, that book. He'll illustrate all the fights that got busted out there for fuckery, you know? And some people even admitting, yes, I took a dive.
Yeah, why would they drug him? So it takes effect later on in the fight. I mean, let's be real. If Klitschko had landed a shot early on when he was feeling all right, then what would have been the point of drugging him in the first place?
Did they drug him against Brian Jennings or some shit? Because he looked like shit in that fight.
Well,
and when,
I mean, you could
once the
attribute
ref,
that to age too,
once
right?
the ref, yeah, but we can always say like it can apply at any moment. Okay, so we can make the drug argument because he was younger then, and he
I
wasn't
don't know
the
if
first.
it's true though.
No, I know. But I'm saying, anyways, we're gonna.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, it's just too convenient to say he was drugged when you. I mean, listen, if Nordic Warrior said,
but also it's too convenient to dismiss it as well.
I know, you're right, but listen, people get tired in there. He was throwing a shitload of shots at Lemon Brewster, and Lemon Brewster, let's not forget, he was on that Buster Douglas warpath because I think his longtime trainer, had passed away recently, so he was on a whole other level emotionally. He was willing to die in there. And Vladimir Klitschko was listen. The way he fell to the ring, he blew his load, and Brewster was continuing to come forward, landing shots. Vladimir Klitschko didn't topple because somebody opened the door and a gush of wind came in. He got dropped because he got hit. But anyway, listen, I don't want to get too much into this fight.
If you fight long enough, you box long enough, there's gonna be days you feel like shit. It just doesn't mean that Lemon Brewster's better than you. It's just that you felt bad or whatever, or as soon as he hit you, for some reason you couldn't take punches like you thought you could, and you go out. You know what I'm saying? But
sometimes you have a fighter that you think is an easy opponent because you're just landing so many shots.
Right.
Then you run out of gas. And then the other guy comes back, and then the other guy has more heart that night, like Lemon Brewster, because his father or whatever trainer died. He lands a good shot and then catches a tired Klitschko. I mean, that's also a possibility.
It's a seesaw battle sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyone using the drug excuse for the defeat, the Vlad defeat, that's like me using the panic attack excuse for Joshua. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, in the day, it's just it's a conspiracy. I mean, that's all that is.
Now, what's his name again? Jesus Christ. Chris Bird. Chris Bird claimed that, remember that Klitschko had something in his gloves?
Maybe he did.
Well, maybe, but I mean, like, I'm not gonna. Of course, anything's possible, but likely that's. I mean, I don't know.
But you know what? Nordic Warrior says the BDA panel also think. He says the BDA panel also thinks that Kovalev Canelo was real, so it is what it is. But like, listen, you can make any claim and say, "Well, this guy looked like shit, so he must have been drugged." Show me some evidence. Don't just tell me, "Well, he's an Olympic Soviet gold medalist."
I'll give you an
example,
example,
so
right?
he's drugged. I mean, come on.
There's a baseball team, the Houston Astros, that are in a big scandal right now. Now, to me, it's not that big because if you follow baseball like I do, or you played it, you know that these things happen. So they were caught stealing signs.
Oh.
In one of the most horrific, in one of the most sophisticated ways. So they actually knew what the other team was going to do. Okay? So that gives you a slight advantage. Look. When we're talking about sports, these guys are ultimate competitors. They are sometimes it gets in their head to get an advantage, right? To take an advantage in a gamesmanship, right? Or not a gamesmanship, excuse me. A gentleman's agreement that we're both going to follow the rules, but we know, wink, wink, if we could take advantage of a certain situation, we will, right? And of course, you're going to meet some people that take it to the extreme, like what's happening now with this baseball team that I'm talking about. It seems like somebody got tired of their shit and exposed them, right? Like, okay, look, we cheat too, but you're fucking really cheating. You know what I'm saying? Like, we steal signs, we do the same thing, but you're going out of your way to steal signs. You got people in the stands relaying messages to the players. Nah, we're not doing that. So we're gonna fuck you over. It's just to think that people who don't try to cheat, like, look, it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. But if
It's not a
in
big
that,
deal to me. It's not a big deal, honestly.
it's not a big deal to me either because I'm open for the possibility. For example, listen, people are saying that against us, who's always on some weird Vladimir Klitschko train ride, is saying the evidence is right in front of you, and you're still asking for evidence. What's your evidence that he got tired?
Show me
Hold on. Your evidence is he got tired, and that's not supposed to happen to a 250 plus pound
That never
6 feet
happens.
monster.
I mean,
that never happens. I gotta
winning
come
the
up.
fight, right?
I gotta come up with the evidence. I mean, come on, it's the
That's
burden of proof is
ridiculous.
on you. At least Precise, he still believes that the Kovalev Canelo fight was. He made a 2-hour video about that, so he put in the work. Put in the work and show me proof that Klitschko was drugged.
Mentioning that, show me the evidence that fight was rigged. I mean, I keep saying, oh, but Kovalev was pulling his shots. I mean, what happened in the yard fight? Because
that's what he's saying. He's saying there's a big, and I agree with him. He's saying the big difference between him fighting Yard and him fighting Kovalev. That's the example that he was making. I watched the video. I thought it was spot on, in my opinion. I'm not gonna try to convince you. That's up to you.
I'm confused there. What did he say that's spot on? Because I haven't seen the video.
To me, spot on. He had where he wasn't bending his jabs. He was bending his elbow, throwing jabs, tapping his gloves. He wasn't trying to penetrate through. He was penetrating Yard. Look, I'm not gonna. I say you watch the video for yourself and you come up with your own conclusion. To me, there is no doubt Kovalev didn't come there to win that fight. That's it. I'm not gonna try to convince anybody. That's just my opinion. He threw the fight.
But let me say something. Let me say something.
Risk his life to take a shot like that.
Why not? They box. They box.
Yeah,
but always risk your life.
But hold on, I just want to say something.
Every fight you go into,
go ahead, BDA.
Recognize.
Every fight you go into, you basically risking your life. That's what
recognize. I understand your point, but I don't want to get into the Kovalev Canelo fight right now because I just want to stay in this heavyweight subject right now. Again, I want to bring up an example where you could also claim a fighter was drugged. The famous, one of my favorite fights, by the way, is Vince Phillips. Well, not Vince Phillips. It's Carlos Mausa versus what was his name again? Philip. I forget. On the undercard of Gatti Mayweather, and there was this dude that people called our next Tommy Hearns of the 140-pound division, right? Philip. What was his name again? Hold on. Let me look it up because I really don't want to get this one all messed up. And I think I actually showed you guys the fight when we were watching clips online on Rabbit. Carlos Mausa, he was a Colombian dude. He made Ricardo Mayorga look like Sugar Robinson in there. This guy was weird looking. He had big ass ears, lanky butt. Vivian Harris. He fought Vivian Harris, who was a top contender at junior welterweight. Some people were saying that Ricky Hatton was ducking him. The guy was long. He hit hard. He looked like a killer in there. And so Vivian Harris went into that fight all hyped up because he was going to be fighting on the Gatti Mayweather undercard. A lot of eyes on him. And he tried to take Mouse's head off. He started strong, bombs after bomb. Coincidentally, Emmanuel Stewart was in his corner that night, just like with Klitschko. And he was telling Vivian Harris, pace yourself, pace yourself. By the middle of the first round, Vivian Harris was exhausted. Okay, because he was way too hyper. And it's the same thing with Vladimir Klitschko. He was coming off the Corey Sanders disaster. He had a Brewster in there who was just covering up. He said, let me tee off on this motherfucker. He fell into the trap of hitting a guy as hard as he could because he was an easy target. And guess what? He spent all his bullets. Is it possible that he was drugged? Absolutely. Like Recognize said, this is a weird sport, boxing. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So I'm open to the possibility.
Remember, it's not governed by like a certain. It's not governed by a body, right?
Right.
It's not like the NFL is covered. It's governed by the football in America. It's covered by the NFL. You have to answer to them. They're not going to be on your. There's no promoters who fight over who's the biggest promoter, and therefore we can set up the way we want to. Right? There's none of that. You have to answer, but they still cheat in those sports.
Fair enough, but how can you be certain? Because some people are certain that somebody is drugged. Like it's a possibility, which is you are saying, which is a safe position to take, right? Maybe it's possible, it's happened in the past, but to say that you're completely certain that somebody is drugged, I mean that's a whole nother level of statement.
Yeah,
right?
I would have to say, I would have to agree with you on that, Butcher. Like if you're gonna say certainty, okay, you got to show me like a test or whatever. But now, if you take an educated guess and say, look, he looked like shit that night, there was something wrong. Okay, I'm okay with that too. Not that that makes me say I totally agree with you. I might, right? I might agree with you. But for me to pretend that boxing is not a corrupt sport. Remember, this was a sport that was the #1 sport in all of in America. Okay, it was even bigger than baseball. It fell for a reason. I would tell people to go read that book. It's called The Sweet Science Goes Sour. It's by Thomas Myler. He will document. He will show you documents. He will show you proof of guys who threw fights. He will show you guys who got advantage by other methods to win the fight. This is part of boxing, man. And it's always been that way.
Well, you know what?
We know for a certainty.
Yeah.
I was going to say one more thing. Do we know for a certainty? Like, I think Kovalev threw the fight. But I would never tell you, hey, I know 100% that he threw the fight.
That's what I'm saying.
Because he told me, because me and Kovalev were friends, and he told me, you know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. But you know what?
Hey, Fight Scout says Emmanuel Stewart drugged.
But hold on. I want to let Recognize finish before I go on. Sorry, Recognize. Go ahead.
No, what I would say is, it is my opinion from what I saw. I don't disrespect. Look, one thing is I don't try to disrespect people. I think some people are a little delusional, but I don't disrespect. I try not to disrespect them. My opinion is, and if you want me to elaborate, I'll do that. If you don't, that's fine. What I saw was a guy throwing a fight.
Okay, but again,
I saw Kovalev throwing a fight. That's it.
Getting away from the Kovalev, because I mean that's got at least a certain. You can point to certain visual evidence. Like for example, Bucho made a good point. Is if you're saying that somebody got drugged or whatever, you still have to be open to the possibility that it didn't happen because you have to show us extraordinary evidence. Now, Gastas in the chat room says nobody can be certain of anything, dude. You can't be certain you exist in the real world. Okay, so with that logic, let's just make up whatever we want. Let's make up the. Jesus, can I talk, please? Can I just finish, please? We can say that there's a unicorn flying across the universe, and hey, that's possible. You can't disprove it or prove it. Also, like Bucho said, listen, I'm open to the possibility that Vladimir Klitschko was drugged, but show me some evidence. You can't just tell me he got tired. He got tired and he got hit. That's how he got knocked out. That happens in boxing. What I don't like is when people against us, they say, oh, you're an idiot for not seeing that he was drugged. How am I? I'm open for the possibility, but you're not open to the possibility that you can be wrong. I mean, come on, that's close-mindedness, and I'm not gonna have it. I'm not gonna have arrogance.
Yeah, that's a little too much arrogance, and I would agree with you on that. Like that's the wrong way to go about it. Look, there's people that believe that the Earth is flat. I don't know that. I don't think so. I don't personally think so.
But I watched many hours of those videos.
But what I'm saying is, I would never say that it's impossible. It's just impossible. I'll say that I don't believe that. I don't believe the Earth is flat. That's it.
Hey, maybe it is. I'm starting to get. Remember when we did the episode about that at the Second Renaissance, and Boxing Style almost had us in shock because we thought he believed it, and he clarified. He said, "No." He said, I was just open to the possibilities," and then everybody gave a breath of relief. Yeah. But it's something. It strikes me as something that Boxing Style might be a flat earther. I don't know why it fits, because he's a little bit of a contrarian. But anyway, sorry, Stu, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I mean, fucking. What I saw was a fighter that was had shot his bolt basically. The two cabs back to back took it out of him. A guy that's aging, a guy that just had nothing left, and he was a lot of them shots. Yes, I agree, he wasn't snapping the shots, but a lot of them were get off me punches, like I like to say. He just couldn't cope with the pace. Canelo was tucking up behind the guard and just stalking him, and Kovalev just didn't have the legs in him. And I saw shades of that against Yard. I just think because Yard was so inexperienced. I mean, let's be real. Look at the experience and the talent between Yard and Canelo, and Yard had him all over the place. Was that a fix as well? I mean, I said he was
bigger. That's anyway. I just keep.
Yeah, but we're not accusing Yard and the Kovalev for being a fixed fight. I'm accusing that fight of being a fixed fight.
But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, Kovalev had problems in that fight as well. He nearly got stopped in that fight. This has been happening for a while. This is not the Kovalev we know. Some people are just so romantic they don't like to let the past go, and they still think that's the Crusher Kovalev that was smashing Nathan Cleverly all over the UK.
You know, it's funny. We think that Ward cheated. Yeah. We think Ward cheated and got an advantage over
of course.
Kovalev. Right, but we can't even think of the idea that that Canelo.
But it's a different level. I agree, but the thing is, Ward got low blows, and Ward was throwing low blows. So you can clearly see that. Right?
Yeah, would you say that's a fixed fight if he's getting away with that and getting awarded?
Fixed.
Wait, come out. If he's hitting him with a low blow,
yes,
and the referee stops the fight,
yes,
and says, I'm going to award Andre Ward with a TKO stoppage. That's a fixed fight. Yes, that is. Okay?
Yes.
It's just that one guy's not in on it. That's it. Okay?
Yeah, but one guy...
Would there be so much, not you recognise, but so much fuss in the chat about this fight being a fix if Golovkin had got the nod against Canelo? Because I see a lot of hate towards Canelo. And listen, Canelo Alvarez stepping up to the mark for me. I mean, this guy didn't have to go.
He's a steroid user. He's a steroid.
But maybe they're all on him, and you accuse someone every show recognised. So and so you should as well. But I'm saying is they're all on him, like you said.
Oh, I believe that they all.
What did you say about Wilder? If he takes them, I don't care because they're all on him. You can't say.
But I don't like. Here's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that we're quick to jump on Floyd Mayweather. We're quick to jump on Andre Ward for their dirty tactics, their political tactics, outside and inside the ring. And I agree to a large extent that's true. But when it comes to Canelo, there's none, right? Canelo is just Canelo is a cheater.
Can I say something? Well, hold on. Okay, hold on. Stu just said that he is on PEDs. We know there's a stipulation.
Right. And what I'm saying is, why is it impossible to believe that he would pay a guy to throw the fight? Why is that impossible?
This is the thing. Can I say something, Bucho, or you're done?
He was throwing the fight. He was up on the card. I mean, the same people that think you throw the fight had him up on the card. I mean, it's amazing.
Look,
I mean,
he said
we put some.
All right, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. I gotta put my foot down because we're not supposed to get into this Kovalev. We already.
It's a good conversation. It's an interesting conversation.
It's actually much better than the Wilder conversation, to be honest.
All right.
Yeah, I'm tired of that shit.
All right, go ahead, guys. I'm gonna go for a couple of minutes. All right, so you guys, because this. I mean, I don't. Go ahead. Talk about it.
I was just gonna say, Mr. BDA. That's why I told you we need to analyze Kovalev Alvarez 1, Kovalev Alvarez 2, Kovalev Yard, so we can put things into perspective. Because, like Stu says, I think we still romanticizing Kovalev and his career. He hasn't been the same.
No, it's not romanticizing.
And you know, throwing a flickering jab and shit like that. Kovalev could get away with things like that against Canelo because he's so much taller. Every time he took a step back, you could see Canelo was me. So those little jabs were trying to create an opening. Go ahead.
Kovalev says, I was going by instructions. Buddy McGirt, that's all he kept telling him. Keep using the jab. He's going to his trainer, and I think it cost him. At the end of the day, if he's not the reason he's not loading up on his shots because he's constantly on the move, thinking about on the move. It's like throwing shots to get off for Canelo to get off him, sort of to keep off him, and he's not planting.
Right, because Canelo's so strong. He's much stronger than Yard. Right,
but it's not about strength. It's about speed. It's not about strength. It's about speed here.
Like,
what's
strength here? Way faster than you're saying. He's way faster than Yard.
Absolutely.
Way faster.
And he has more precision than Yard. And Yard got tired after. Yard got tired after 2 rounds, man. Go watch the fight. That's why. Listen, I want to look at.
Yeah, because he was throwing some mean punches.
No, Yard is like he sucks. He's shit. Yard is shit.
You know what? Listen, guys.
He got tired after 2 rounds.
Listen, guys. We're gonna.
The chest. That's how you do it.
We're gonna rewatch it.
No. Yard is too muscular and got tired in 2 rounds. That's what because he's not okay. Go ahead, Mr. BDA.
Well, I was just gonna say we're gonna get to the bottom of this because now I'm very interested in this. And remember, we are gonna do something similar because we did this with Recognized Boxing Style and Bucho. We watched clips of Alvarez versus Kovalev and then Canelo versus Jacobs, and that was before the Kovalev-Canelo fight, and we analyzed that and we put that on BDA Live. So we're gonna do something similar this week for Luis Joshua. We're gonna be taking a look at little clips and see what each fighter did wrong, what they did right, and what they can correct in order to win the fight. And so we like Bucha said, we're gonna do something very similar for the Canelo Kovalev fight because there's unfinished business there.
Kovalev overshooting with his shots in that first what's it, the Alvarez fight, even the second one, overshooting, clinching, like he didn't look that great.
All right, but listen,
and that translates to him pity patting, throwing shots the way he normally doesn't, and that's
he's fighting a different guy. Well, Styles makes fights.
This is what I see. Look, the problem I have when they say fix, they're not specific to where nobody said this was 100% Kovalev. He did basically made a statement that he did after the fight. This was a quick turnaround in this fight that, I wasn't at 100%. Nobody ever said, and everybody discounts and they turn a blind eye when, we say, some people, that this was not 100% Kovalev. So it's kind of a given that Canelo already has a shady track record with the PDs and the weight clauses. So why can't this be to where it's not a fix, but it's a given, yes, that Canelo has a clear advantage to win, and that's what happened. Look, Canelo Kovalev couldn't quite step in hard with his jab because he was keeping his legs really, really wide apart because he tried to keep Canelo on the outside of his lead foot. And to where Canelo did come in on the inside of the lead foot, Kovalev would bump him off. Does that seem that somebody's trying to deliberately throw the fight
90
when the referee has to warn you, don't bump me off anymore? Because he's trying to keep him on the outside of the foot. He can't he can't step into his jab. And when Canelo was breaking that separation, Kovalev was bumping him off. Does that look like somebody that wants to get knocked out? No, Kovalev didn't want to get knocked out because the referee had to warn him, don't bump him off with your front shoulder. And that's just a few indications that Kovalev wasn't there to throw the fight necessarily, if we're speaking fix. But
Gonzalo,
he says it was impossible to win. Nothing is lining up in his favor.
Gonzalo,
nothing is lining up because this was a quick turnaround for him.
You accuse Canelo of taking steroids and having advantages in a fight, but it's impossible for you to believe.
In the past.
No, he still does it. He's a steroid user.
Okay, but that's not a guarantee. No,
I would put money on it. I would put money on it. Test this guy for real. He comes up dirty. Okay.
Well, you just said yourself that you can't 100% say that.
Did Mayweather ever
pretty
pay a
confident
fighter?
that I could say that. I'm pretty confident that if I put my money against yours, I'm winning.
But can somebody clear the difference between a fix that Kovalev said in the locker room? Yeah, I'm gonna go in there and take a dive, and then I'm going in there to lose. There's a difference between the everything is not tilted in his favor. It's against him. That means he's at a real big disadvantage. But there's a difference between being within a real big disadvantage. They clearly
do you know Jake LaMotta? Do you know Jake LaMotta? You know Jake LaMotta?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jake LaMotta got stopped in the forefront against a guy named Billy Fox who had no power. There was a lot of suspicious activity in that fight, okay? This is 1945 or 1947, something like that, okay? Somewhere around that time. So the FBI got involved and investigated that fight, and they cornered Jake LaMotta. Jake LaMotta, I guess he was in a lot of trouble, right? Confessed to the FBI that he did throw the fight and that he received 20 grand for the fight because the mob guaranteed him 20 grand and that he would get a fight with Marcel Sedan, the middleweight champion of the world. At that time, Jake LaMotta beat up pretty bad, to the point where Marcel Sedan never fought again. Okay? Jake LaMotta, a lot of people say this is a man of integrity, a lot of integrity. A lot of people respected him. He admitted to throwing the fight.
Did he throw in his family?
He didn't get into that. But the FBI told him, we know there was something really bad going on. If we catch you in a lie, you're going to jail. That's it. That's how the FBI.
So, boxers can throw fights, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so he said that the mob asked him to throw the fight for 20 grand extra. Now, take in mind that this is 1940s. 20 grand is a lot of money back then. Okay? So he did it. My point is look, you can't be so naive to say there's no way that he took that. He didn't take that fight. Okay? He got first of all, he got the biggest payday to fight Kovalev. That's one. Second, he got Canelo. Excuse me. Then he got a 2-fight deal with DAZN. If he lost, if he lost the fight,
but because if he won, he would have had the advantage.
Right.
Why would he stay with DAZN?
Here's my point. Look, he said he even admitted. He said, "Look, you would be an ignoramus if you thought I was going to win the fight in those conditions, right? Like, dude, you're a boxer. This is what you do, okay? Now, I take it as maybe you guys take it as, well, there it is. He didn't feel right, you know. I take that as that's him trying to sell. Look, this was a real fight. I didn't take a dive. That's my interpretation. That's it. Now, if you want to debate the fight, I say let's watch it together. Stu, Gonzalo, if you really want to sit down and watch it, and I'll debate you and I'll tell you why I think he threw the fight.
The evidence is recognized. It's obvious that Kovalev was being very timid with his right hand, and he was pity-patting with his jab. The fact that he was timid with his right hand doesn't necessarily mean to me that he's throwing it. If he commits with the right hand, by the time he pulls that right hand back, you know, he's going to be open to the body because the liver aligns to the right side. Just because he didn't throw it,
he said.
Doesn't mean that he threw it. It's just basically he was showing timidness against a counterpuncher in Canelo.
I think there's a lot of
Yard wasn't able to do.
I think there's a lot of religious boxing fans that can't accept that this is still happening. That's what I think. So they don't even want to entertain.
Gonzalo's making a good point, though.
No, listen, he's making. This is what I want to do, Gonzalo. Okay, this is what I want to do. I want us to sit down, watch the fight together. I'm going to highlight mine, and then you can highlight yours. And
look,
how
tall are you? How tall are you? Recognize? How tall are you? 6'1", 6'2"?
I'm 6'2", yeah.
Today he's 6'2".
I'm 5'9". I'm 5'9". If I'm gonna try to keep you outside, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna spread. If you're gonna try to keep me the shorter guy outside, you're gonna spread your legs really wide apart.
What I'm gonna do is, what I would do as you being the shorter guy, right? Assuming that I got long arm reach than you, and I'm just longer. Period. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jab you. I'm gonna start in rhythm. I'm going to jab you in one gear. But the one thing I'm not going to do is if I find out that you're pretty strong in the fight, that I'm not going to stay in one gear. I'm going to start mixing that with hard punches is what Kovalev didn't do. And I'm willing to debate you and you show me where he went beyond one gear.
Yeah, but that's true. Recognize if that's true, then Sergei Kovalev is an absolute disgrace. He should never be in a boxing ring again. Loses all credibility to me. I mean, one of my favourite fighters in his prime. But if that's true,
that's what I'm talking about. Also,
let him finish. Let's finish.
I do not want to hear Kovalev's fucking name again if that's true, because he's a disgrace, selling himself out. Yeah. He might as well bent over the ropes. That's what he might as well have done.
I don't think he'll ever admit that. Unless he's put in a bad situation, and he really did.
What does he gain? Surely he gains more by beating Canelo.
Pete says.
I mean, look, is it possible for? Look, it all depends on your mindset going in, right? When somebody offers you something, and you're in a bad situation. Let's say he is in a bad situation, right? Because you don't know him. First of all. He hangs out with funny people. Listen, I can tell him, right? I could be part of the Russian mob. And I can say, you're going to throw this fight, and you're going to do it because I got money on the line. And you owe me, motherfucker. You know what I did for you. That's it. You know what I did for you. You don't throw this fight, you're going to have to pay up or something's going to happen. You think that doesn't exist? Like,
no, it's.
Hold on. Can I add something to that? Can I add something to because I haven't spoken about. First of all, shout out to Pete who just donated with the super chat. He says, "I just tuned back into the show. How the hell did he get back to Canelo Kovalev?" Yeah, thank you, Pete. That's what I was saying. But listen, just to add to that, that's why I said after the fight, after the Kovalev Canelo fight, I said, "Is it really that outlandish to believe that this fight could have been fixed when you consider a guy like Canelo who gets caught with PEDs and then nothing negative happens to, or something like a slap on the wrist. This is a guy who's gotten very close decisions or outlandish decisions handed to him. This is a guy who's got all the advantages coming in. Isn't it possible that there were some hijinks in this fight? Absolutely. But there is also a flip side to that coin. There is also this ain't something that when you look at the evidence and you go, it's absolutely clear and cut the dive. The people in the chat room that keep saying, oh, if you can't see this, you're an idiot. You're playing that game where it's either or. It's either you're an idiot and you don't get it, or you're smart and you're an educated boxing fan and you can see it. It's not that clear and cut, guys. And I'm open to the possibility that it was fixed. In fact, I said after the fight, as soon as I saw Kovalev do the jittery dance, I said that looks fake to me. Okay, so I'm open to the possibility. You got to keep your minds open as well out there, and
exactly.
and
you got to look at it as an investigator, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Like if I'm going to investigate something, and I'm going to predetermine it, you're going to fuck up. I guarantee you fuck up. But
yeah.
But to
I
keep
accept the reality
mind,
that wasn't 100% Kovalev. I know everybody knew this. It's not like a 65% Kovalev.
Gonzalo, let him finish.
Say this real quick.
Yes.
It works both ways. If you're an investigator and you're trying to investigate what happened, and you're predetermined that this fight wasn't fixed, I'm guaranteeing you, even if you're right, you're gonna fall flat on your face. Okay, you're gonna fall flat on your face because you're already predetermined. It works both ways. I'm saying that it looks like a fix to me. I'm not telling you 100% it's a fixed fight. What you're saying is there's a possibility that this happened, and I respect you for that. But you cannot rule out anything when it's happened in the past in the same sport.
Yeah, of course, there's presence.
But can I say something here? Because listen, I love everybody in the chat room. You guys are I've said it before. You guys are the greatest chat in the world. But I do see certain people taking this personal, and Recognize made that sensational point. Look at this from a skeptical stand, as a skeptic. And when I say skeptic, I'm not talking about those guys that discount everything. I'm saying, do not make a decision. Look at this as a detective and say, okay, I'm going to look at all the evidence and I'm going to weigh it in, okay? Don't take this personal. Now, listen, if the fight was fixed, I can accept that, even though this is a sport that I love, and it would suck. It does suck that certain fixes like this can happen. But guess what? I'm a grown man. I'm a grown and well-hung man. And I don't really put too much stock into... I don't get emotional if a fight gets fixed. If it gets fixed, all right, it sucks. I move on. I'm not going to get emotional, start calling people fools, idiots. Look at both sides of this issue, okay? And there's still a lot to be said about it. It is possible...
When I hear people do that, BDA, you know what I think? They're afraid to debate. When I hear somebody say, you're an idiot, you're stupid, you can't see what I see, I say to that, like a fight. I challenge you to a fight. Let's go. Prove me wrong.
Exactly.
And
that's how I do it. That's how I
recognize you're right.
Let's put your evidence and my evidence on the line and see where it goes.
And that means you don't want to debate. You want to be like those the far left and far right. They don't want any debates, any discussions. Right. I'm right, you're wrong. So why would I even be open to having a discussion when I know I'm right and you're an idiot?
Right. Exactly. That's what you're basically saying. You're saying, look, I don't need to debate it. In my mind, look, in order to be convinced other way, I don't need to debate it. I know what I saw. But look, that would never, as a respectful gentleman that's willing to get into a debate, I would never tell you, if you don't 100% agree with me, Bucho, then you're a fucking idiot. No, I will never do that. That's just, I think that's you taking too much in, that's you believing too much in yourself. Mm-hmm. First of all, Kovalev never admitted anything to me. As far as, I don't know him. I don't know what's in his mind. Maybe he really was scared. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was. But I'm going on an educated guess, watching boxing for many years, fighting, also being a fighter myself. It's enough for me to say, look, I think he threw the. That's what I said. Right, that's my conclusion.
Let me read a couple of comments from the chat because I think we gotta go back. Listen, guys, remember this is boxing. This is supposed to be for fun. All these debates, we're not supposed to get too emotional over it. So let me just read a couple of comments from the chat room. Nes Mendoza says the KO is real, but the fight was a sparring session for Kovalev. He forgot that he had no headgear on. Nordic Warrior says it's sad that people have no common sense. Well, there you go. The Punisher says Kovalev was drinking vodka between rounds to look convincing. Nordic Warrior says I'm just getting started. He says I don't debate with words. I debate with my fists. Pete says you guys throwing around. you guys throwing around Pete says you guys are throwing around that term "we" too loosely, and that's a serious allegation. Hucker Mustang says it looks very fixed, but I can't prove it in court, though. You know that's the same thing with myself. Like I like to read books. I haven't done so lately, but when I was in my teenage years, I like to read about UFOs. And once you read enough books about UFOs and watch enough documentaries, you realize that there's something there, but you can't prove it. But if you took all the eyewitness accounts and all that, you have a pretty solid case that there's some weird stuff going in the skies. But again,
Look,
I'm not gonna die on that hill and tell you without that I'm certain beyond.
look at the
a
murder
doubt
of Tupac. Look at the murder of Tupac. I'm just gonna bring this up for a second, right? I know you're like,
All right.
whoa, Tupac in boxing. What the fuck? Okay, look. Everybody knew who killed him. That guy never got arrested. That guy never ever got arrested for Tupac's murder, and everyone knew who murdered him.
Was
They
it
saw
that? Was
They
it that
saw
old
it.
man Anderson guy? Is that you on about?
Right. Okay, so the guy gets killed 2 years later for something totally unrelated. So the guy who killed Tupac, who was a mortal, the streets of Los Angeles and just about everywhere, they all knew who did it. Nobody ever retaliated to get him, and he never got arrested. Okay? You want to know why? The retaliation rarely happens anyway. When somebody murders someone, they rarely get retaliated against. Okay? That's one. Number two, the reason why he was never prosecuted because nobody talked. It's that simple. Even though everybody knew, he was actually bragging about it, that he killed Tupac. He got killed trying to kill somebody else. Okay?
Hey, but
he killed the somebody else. The somebody else boy was there, shot him, and killed him.
is that in that movie? I saw a trailer for a movie with Johnny Depp about that. Is that all included in there? Did you see that movie, or is that a BS?
Well, look, this was well known in the 90s when it happened. It was known. Like, look, I knew a guy from that part of the world.
Uh-huh.
And he was telling me the streets, the rumors is there's this guy who's down with this gang. He's from Compton. He killed Tupac. That's it. That's how simple it was. And this was over the phone. Anybody could hear it. My point is that sometimes you could do things and never get caught. Okay? They could be right there in front of you and you never get caught.
Yeah, and by the way, with that statement that Kovalev put out, it's just the beginning. I was watching this Argentinian reporter in Spanish say he used a comparison when Mayweather fought Pacquiao to after the fact, where it came out that Pacquiao had a hurt shoulder, and this involves like the bookies and the people that place a lot of money on these fights, to where, this is just the beginning. It's like a saga, to where if they're talking fix, a lot of people could be taken to court over this, and we're just going to see what the new developments are going to be for this. Because I even think in that fight, they put a petition like 500 signatures together, against, I think it was Mayweather that tried to sue Pacquiao, but it ended up going like stale in the courts. But
look what happened.
There's a lot of people that are involved. The betting people recognize.
I think Kovalev better be careful. That's my opinion, right? Let's say, I'm going to tell you, first of all, let me say, if he's trying to admit something, right? He better be careful, because if this turns out to be what I believe this fight was about, right? And I preface it that way because I don't want to say like it's 100%, right? I think that somebody else asked him to take a dive, and that somebody else is more dangerous than anybody he has to worry about. Any legal stuff. Remember, this guy used to work for the Russian mob. He was muscle for them. Okay? That was his job. He probably went in that world. You always end up owing somebody. You owe him this, you owe him that, you owe him this. I can't pay it. I'm sorry. But what happened to all the money you made? I had to spend it on this. Okay, then you're going to do me a fucking favor, and you're going to do this.
Do they have to curse, though,
I'm not
by
saying
the
it
way?
necessarily has to be throwing a fight, but it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the cursing is necessary, though. But listen, hold on.
Go ahead, BDA.
Yeah, sorry. Before we continue, because we're going to end it soon, but I wanted to let Pete get a couple of words in. Peter, are you there?
Fellas, how you doing?
Good to have you on board. You want to weigh in on this? because I know you had a couple of things to say in the chat room about this whole conspiracy thing and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go back a few weeks, but I'm saying, like, the fight was what it was, but the term fixed, you're implying that Kovalev was in on getting knocked out. That's like saying that I don't know what the hell Matrix was talking about Tupac earlier. I don't know what for, but
Yeah,
like
what I'm
that
saying is that everybody.
these guys are saying Tupac's alive.
Everybody knew Tupac's murderer. What I'm trying to say. Everybody knew who killed him. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well, you saw the car, right? He definitely got shot up in that car.
No, I'm saying Tupac's murderer, well-known murderer, never got prosecuted or retaliated on.
I'm saying though, like, you know, these crazy outside theories that Tupac's really alive. He's on some Bahamian island somewhere. That's right. You're like, the guy got shot up. He got gunned down. Kovalev got gunned down. Saying that Kovalev was in on that is like saying that Tupac staged it. Like, he didn't stage that fucking
it's two
murder.
different things. It's two different
Come
things.
on, man. They both got
a
ice.
different example.
Yeah, you got.
I know what he was saying,
example,
but
Pete. Yeah.
Well, the knockout. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bucho.
Well, no, I think I know what you're saying. I mean, the knockout, that's why I always go to the knockout. I can see Kovalev's ankles getting all twisted up. He must be like a super good method actor if that's the case.
When you're preparing yourself, look, I would say this. When let's say I've never been asked, but let's say I sparred with a guy and they said, look, we want this to end by you getting knocked out. So Frank, fight in one gear. He's gonna come out to bomb you out. All right. If I know that the end is going to be me getting knocked out, okay, it prepares me. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to get knocked out because he's the person that I'm going up against. Got to get in rhythm. Got to start, sizing me up and how he's going to knock me out. Okay, that's a possibility. You got to remember, don't put yourself in their shoes. These guys are professional boxers. They're professional punchers. They understand what they're doing. Okay, and that's all. I just keep an open mind to that.
Yeah, I'm open.
I'm keeping a totally open mind. I just don't see any motive. I I don't understand the motivation.
Motive can be
money.
Yeah. Anything. Money at the end. Motive is. You can create any type of motive. Money is usually motive for most fucking things that happen in this fucking world, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Dick LaMotta had to confess to throw in a fight. He told him money.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's walk me through this. Right. I believe that Kovalev signed a contract, an A-sided, lopsided contract. He agreed to some rehydration clause that he knew he was going to kill himself to make. I'm sure. Look, to me, it looked like Pacquiao and Mayweather. It just looked like he's flat. Just looked like shit. So I agree he did that. Now am I going to say Kovalev got greedy for the money and he agreed to a 7-pound rehydration clause for another $1 million instead of a 15-pound rehydration clause and made $1 million less? Yeah, I'll go that far with you. Even if they said you got to lose this fight, he could have lost it a zillion different. He could have boxed one more round and lost a lopsided decision.
That could have happened too.
But we should keep an open mind, and I am keeping an open mind. However, in my opinion, just like from what I saw, it's unlikely that it was staged just because of the knockout and other things. But that's just my opinion. That's what I'm saying. But
then again, he could have threw the fight in a bunch of different ways without taking a blind shot to the chin.
Yeah, but then again, it does make Canelo look better. Maybe that was part of the deal.
Yeah, but when you look at fake knockouts throughout history, you can tell they're fake.
Phantom punch type shit.
Yeah, the phantom punches.
But the phantom punch, but the phantom punch was under different motivations. Like apparently, Sonny Liston thought he was going to get shot, or that somebody was going to try to shoot Muhammad Ali during the fight, and so he decided to just get the heck out of there and fake. But
that fight was never confirmed either.
Yeah, that was never confirmed.
That it was fixed. It just people came to the conclusion like, yo, look.
Yeah, of course. And a fake
punch. He was with the mob. The referee fucked up and just called the fight off. He should have been telling Ali to go to the corner. There's a lot of things that go into that. Am I open to the possibility that fight was a fix? In fact, I think that fight was a fix. I think it was.
I'm talking about the one where he didn't even connect. He didn't even connect with the Ali fight where he didn't even touch him.
But there's also a real phantom punch where you can barely get nicked on the tip of your beard, and you go down.
You're like Tyson Fury.
All I'm saying is that if Kovalev went into that fight to lose it, he could have done it. Unless you're telling me that they sat down with him and they said, "You must get iced. This is what has to happen." He could have taken. He could have gone another round and a half and lost a lopsided ass beating of a decision.
Look,
we don't know. It's all speculation.
We saw the
score got together, right? Like
under when Roy Jones got knocked out by Antonio Tarver in the second round in the rematch, right? I'm not saying that fight was fixed. What I'm saying is they investigated a guy who was from Mississippi. He believe it was $100,000 down. He said that he got a couple of guys with him, from what I remember, and they won $5 million because it was 50-1 odds if Roy Jones got iced the first 3 rounds, I believe. I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
And the guy won $5 million. Now they investigated him.
Right.
They didn't find anything. They didn't find anything. They didn't find anything that would substantiate that this was a fixed fight. He knew something that nobody knew. You know, it's just
okay, but
well,
in that
situation,
though, if you've got money, if you've got a financial gain, you're going to bet on the long shot and have fighter A. You're going to fix this fight, so to speak. You're going to rig this fight so that the long money comes in, right?
Right.
I give you another one. Kovalev bet on himself.
That's that. You know what? That I can definitely.
Why not? And anybody who doesn't believe that, they're fucking idiots.
But here's the thing. Can I just say one thing, please? Let me just say one thing here. One thing that doesn't fill me with confidence, because the interesting thing here is that we all fundamentally agree that there were going to be some shenanigans one way, that there were shenanigans one way or the other, whether it was the clause, the rehydration clause, whatever. One thing that doesn't fill me, the referee. Fucking Russell Mora. He's got a good haircut. That's all. That's the only positive thing I can say about that guy. But the thing that doesn't fill me with confidence with Kovalev is that this post-fight statement, which I don't know how accurate it is, because things can get lost in the translation, where supposedly he said he called people that bet on him ignoramus. First of all, I don't see Kovalev using the word ignoramus. It's like, oh yeah, these boorish Philistines that bet on me. Shut up. I don't think he uses those type of words. But I do believe if he's saying that he wasn't ready for the fight at all, that means that I'm open to the possibility that he wasn't even taking this seriously and he was doing it for the money. And if he's already doing it for the money...
Initially, he didn't want the fight because he said that he wasn't going to have enough time to train.
Exactly. Right. So what that tells me is... what that tells me is that he's a hoe.
Sign for it, he's saying notice.
Yeah, he didn't have time. But
hold on. Let me say something, please. What I'm saying is that leads me to believe that for him, it was all about the money and he's a hoe.
Okay.
He's willing to whore himself out for money. So what else isn't he willing to do for that type of money?
Oh, well, then we can take it out to, he can kill somebody for money too, right?
We could take it, we could go as far as we need to with that. But what I would say is that he admitted to me by saying that you're stupid, in other words, if you thought I was going to win, that he went in there not thinking he was going to win.
Okay. Yeah,
that's basically.
His mental state at this point is a mess, right?
Well, yeah, you gotta be in a bad state when. So look. Either way,
a lot of go ahead.
If I convince you to fuck up your legacy, right, for money, you're in a bad state. You're in a bad state mentally.
You're gonna say whatever you want. This guy's gonna say shit.
Yeah. Where are the commissions? Where are the commissions when people are getting killed and it just happens to be this big fight that this guy has like an 8-week turnaround time in a fight that he clearly got hurt? Weren't they saying, yeah, we're going to give these guys time to recover? So this is a knock on them as well. They clearly knew the guy had a handicap. You mentioned the Pacquiao Mayweather fight, to where they kind of kept it hush that Pacquiao had a hurt shoulder. Here, they knew what Kovalev was lacking and what was not bringing to the table. So yeah, he did have a disadvantage. Nobody's not saying that.
Okay, but you can't stop two guys from contracting to do business. He signed the contract.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. If you're the
If you fail the
commissioner,
medical, if you fail the
He'll go
medical,
to another one.
The one thing I would say about like anybody really wanted to get to the bottom of this, it would be what's the reason to get to the bottom of it. There's probably people that don't see this as a big deal, right? If it happened that way, they're probably like, who cares?
It's a huge deal. Come on, man.
No, I'm not talking about me and you. I'm talking about the people that could get to the bottom of it, the people that have the subpoena power to do stuff like that. Me and you are just fans. We would like to get to the bottom of it, but more than likely we won't. All right. What happened in the past? What I believe happened in the past was that, for example, I brought up Jake LaMotta. Jake LaMotta was affiliated with guys that the FBI wanted to get. They wanted to get them. They wanted to get them. They probably knew about stuff that was going on, fights being fixed, whether the guy has to take a dive or another guy's having a physical advantage or an outside advantage with the judges, whatever the case may be. And maybe they were like tired of this shit. Remember what does the FBI stand for? Forever bothering Italians, right? That was the nickname.
Matrix, shut up. Hey, wait, hold on, Matrix. You're whacked out. Hey,
how am I whacked out? Tell me.
LaMotta, I'm not saying you're whacked out. I take it back. LaMotta's situation, if I just remember correctly, I'm just saying, like, let's we don't have to go too far back, but he's the favorite in a fight that they wanted him to throw. They're betting long money on a favorite to take a dive. Kovalev's the underdog in this fight going in. At the sports book, amongst all of us, we're all hardcore fans. But I mean, if we're going to change this around and have Kovalev walk away with a scarlet letter that he threw a fight, I'm saying, what does that say? There's no motivation. There's no motive here that's been even discussed yet why he would do it.
Well,
it's not for an upset.
I brought up the money.
What money? I'm saying it's not
the money he
that.
got
It's not that Kovalev bet on. I'm saying if you were gonna rig a fight, you'd have Canelo take the dive. He's the favorite.
Yeah, but Pete, what about
they don't want Canelo to take the dive.
I know that, but I'm saying they wanted LaMotta to take the dive. They'd want Canelo to take the dive. They'd want Mayweather to take the dive against Berto.
Jake LaMotta may have been a different situation, and I would agree with you. But his motive was money.
It wasn't just sorry. Can I just interject? There's also the motive of the fact that if he lost, he would get a contract with the Zone.
Right,
a 3-fight deal.
That's not an issue because if Kovalev wins, he takes the fight to ESPN, and so
if he loses, gonna fight,
they don't want him
The
anymore.
Zone's not gonna. If he won that fight and there was a rematch, you're telling me they're not going to air that on the Zone? The 3-fight deal was inked before the Canelo fight happened. It's the first fight of a 3-fight deal.
Is that confirmed?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. And I will say, look, don't look at it just. If he loses, because if he wins, the rematch would be on the Zone, and I would totally agree with you on that. Okay, but what I'm saying is, you're saying motive. I'm saying money. Okay.
Okay.
Jake LaMotta's motive to throw in a fight against a guy he was overwhelming favorite against. He had motivation. His motivation was for money from the mob.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's still the same. Like, I'm gonna put things into context. Yeah, it's possible, but putting things into context, the situation back then was different than now. I know it's still.
No,
possible.
I agree.
I'm not. No, but okay. Because then we can go do the same like the LDBC do. They go all the way back to Jack Johnson to prove that there's racism now. I mean, if there was racism back then there's still now in boxing. It's not at the same level, or even it might be non-existent.
Listen, I think that racism still exists in boxing. It might be more
subtle
nationalism now, where it comes to like foreign fighters versus our fighters in the West. It could be something like that. But look. I wasn't, I would have to delve back to see if Jack Johnson. I think that he was blackballed because he was black, right? Like in certain states, in certain places. Like I do believe that was happening. But what I'm saying is, look, to say motivation, that's the easy part for me, at least. The easy part is the motivation. It's like
so. What I know about Lamada, I'm gonna take from a fucking movie. This shows how smart I am. Migs could probably come in here and correct me, but if I'm not mistaken, the Mafia is telling Jake LaMotta, your next fight, you are the favorite. You're going to throw this fight so that we can gamble on this fight, on the underdog, win long money, and then you will get a title shot. You don't throw this next fight, you don't get the title shot. You must throw a fight as the favorite. You must fall so that we can bet on the other guy. Then we'll let you have your title shot. That's
what basically
this fight here. Kovalev's the underdog in the first place. He doesn't. He was supposed to lose.
I think you're stuck. To me, look, I think you're stuck on the odds, right? Like Bucho said, this was different times back then. There's different motivations now. Like, for instance, Kovalev, you're only getting this fight is because we want you to lose.
Okay, we want you to lose.
You're gonna get $12.5 million, right? When it's all said and done, it's gonna be a paycheck.
Like he wouldn't have gotten the fight if he wouldn't have would have sected the dive, basically, right?
Well, that's possible. I mean, I don't look.
We don't know.
What I would tell you is
Okay, but Matrix, let's walk through this. Kovalev, we're going to give you a 3-fight deal right now. Your first fight's going to be against Canelo. You will lose this fight, not because we're going to drain you, not because we're going to rehydrate you, not because we're going to short rest you from your last fight, not because we're going to have Vada and USADA take turns crawling up your ass while Canelo gets to do whatever he wants. Okay. You will lose this fight. And if you don't lose this fight, we're not going to have you back? Yeah, we will have you back. So it's going to be a 2-fight deal instead of a 3-fight deal. But if you don't throw this fight, we're canceling the other 2 fights on your contract. Let's just say they said that, right? Even though they can't say that, because what they're saying, though, is that if you win this fight, we don't have the rematch. We're not going to give you the rematch on DAZN. We're not airing it.
Right.
But okay, fine. Let's just say you will lose this fight. Okay? Let's just say Kovalev says, okay, fine. You're telling me that they were specific enough to say you will take a blind shot and get iced? You couldn't just lose a decision? You couldn't just pull a rigging down my left hand, my right hand?
We're not going to tell you how to lose a fight. We're not going to tell you how to set yourself up to get destroyed.
Okay.
You take care of that. You're a professional boxer. You take care of that.
There you go. So so based upon that, Kovalev took it upon himself to take an 11-round ass whipping.
He didn't take an ass whipping, but go ahead.
He took some. He was getting bombed in that. He was getting walked down by.
There was some major body shots. There were body shots, anyways.
He could have folded on any of those. He could have folded on any of those body shots. He could have broke his hand, pulled the Rigondeaux shit, pulled the no mas. He could have. Yeah. He could have pulled the Bernard Hopkins and rolled around on the fucking.
Well, I want to say something. Hold on.
Kovalev said to himself, "You know what? Let me earn my money here. Let me get iced."
But okay. Let me answer that point because
come on, man.
I'm of the opinion. I don't buy the theory that the fight was fixed because if you look at it, Kovalev was pity patting. He always shoots throwaway shots. That's not convincing to me. What is convincing, especially in light of this statement that he made after the fight, saying that people were Philistines for believing that he was going to win the fight. He showed up in there saying he knew he wasn't going to win. He knew he was going to get weakened, especially by that post-fight what was it? Rehydration clause.
Rehydration.
Right. I didn't see him taking an ass whipping, but he did admit he was tired. I think he packed it in. I do think, and to here's the other thing. When people are saying, well, how's he going to let himself get punched in the face? Guys out there, like recognize that there's professional boxers. They spend exactly. This is what they do. This is ballet for them. They know how to control certain positions. I think he was willing to eat the shot. That's how confident I am, because he'd been tasting Canelo's punches on the arms, on the gloves. So I think he knew. Okay, listen, I can probably take. I'm saying he's willing to take.
He's a pretty good actor, though. I mean, the way he was backing up with his hands down.
I've seen it, man. I've seen it.
The whole act.
I've seen it. I've seen fighters
fake.
I've
seen. So you're saying that the knockout was an act?
Yes, because if
I'm not saying no. You're saying that.
No,
I'm saying it.
Mr.
I'm
VA.
saying
I'm
it.
talking to Mr.
I
VA.
no, listen. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it's highly possible because of the fact that when he stepped out there, he already told you he was going to get tired. He's telling you he came into that fight tired, undertrained. He
Well,
didn't have.
I mean, hold on. I mean, okay, he's saying he's getting tired. Let's put it into context. The guy just had a fight with Yard. When they offered him the fight at first, he said, "No, it's too. I need more time." So there, he's already admitting it, right? Or was he already preparing you for the eventuality that he will get fake? He will fake a knockout.
It could be a little bit of both.
Since July or something, he's already preparing the whole fucking thing.
Could be a little bit of column A. Could be a little bit of
That's
column B.
okay. It's possible, but because of this that I just mentioned, it starts becoming unlikely.
I agree with you.
The fact that he's getting older, we've been seeing him getting hurt at latter stages of every fucking fight now.
Dude, he looks like a midget next to Kovalev, right? That's the way I see it. He looks like a little midget. He looks like 5'6", 5'7", where Kovalev 6 feet 6'1", right?
Yep.
He's touching him at will at this one gear, just one gear, the whole fight. Tap, which is sparring gear. Tap, tap, little straight right hand. Once in a while, tap, tap, tap. Dude, when you do that against a guy who's trying to knock your fucking head off, he's gonna knock you out eventually. Okay? He is. Now, Kovalev fought two things. If he took this fight and came in to win, he fought stupid. Is what I'm okay? I don't think he's that stupid. He's been boxing long enough. He's been boxing long enough that he knows one gear against a guy like Canelo who's trying to knock you out ain't gonna do it. That's not gonna happen. Okay? Sergio Mora, right in the round where he got knocked out, said, Brian Kenny said, I'm waiting for Canelo to go fourth gear or fifth gear. He says, "Yeah, I'm waiting for Kovalev to go out of one gear." Okay, the reason why he said that, Sergio Mora, right? He's not saying the fight is fixed. He's not saying that. What he's saying is, this is stupid. This is dumb. A guy's trying to take your head off, and you're not putting anything on it to hurt him.
Canelo wasn't doing that much. Let's be honest.
No, he wasn't doing that much. But
no, so he's not trying to take his head off in the sense, like, I mean, he wasn't going Mike Tyson on the guy or anything.
Sergio Mora's point is, the guy's too strong for that. Like, okay, we know you're the bigger guy, but come on, bro, put something on those punches, man. Like, put something on.
But recognize if you
opens himself a little too much as well. If he commits, he goes into second gear.
Was he opening himself when he's jabbing other dudes to the fucking body?
Yes. That's why I want to show you guys Kovalev Alvarez 1 and 2. You're gonna clearly see that happening. Man, he even fucking overshoots some.
Okay, so when he was tapping Canelo's gloves, was he opening himself to anything? Was Canelo swinging anything
not
back?
as much, because when you don't tap with such much commitment, you can pull back your punch faster.
Okay,
and reintroduce another combination.
You boxed Gonzalo, right? So, okay, I'm throwing it at the same speed as tapping, right? But now I'm gonna do a little stiff arm with it. Am I still opening myself up by throwing a little stiff arm at the same speed?
A little more, because you're heavier on the end.
No. Gonzalo, I'm gonna have to challenge you on that. No, you're not. No, you are not. Especially, you see, maybe we see things different. Maybe we see things different. Maybe you're used to fighting guys taller than you. As a tall guy, I'm used to fighting guys a little shorter than me sometimes. No, you do not. You stiff arm the jab so you can have the same speed and you could be in the same lack of getting countered. Okay, in the same position of not getting countered, the more likelihood of not getting countered, and still be effective. Okay, so you can set up other punches, long distance, right? You push your opponent back a little bit further so you can land your overhand right. He never did that. He never tried to do that. The one time he mixed in some punches was in the 8th or the 9th round, where Canelo backed up, and he went up to him and said, "Don't worry about it, buddy. I ain't gonna, like, to me, he's like, don't worry about it, buddy. I ain't gonna try to go in for the kill."
But
don't worry about that.
Can I add the fact that he admitted and Buddy McGirt admitted that was the plan? because they didn't want. They weren't. And again, this is confirmed by Kovalev himself after the fight that they didn't have any confidence in their stamina.
Yeah, you're gonna play. You're gonna
I mean,
play
look,
it safe. I mean, he probably knew he was gonna get tired at the end. Played it very safe. Tried to look for openings that were never came because Canelo wasn't doing that much, right? He was very safe behind his guard. So Kovalev, that's how the fight progressed.
And by the way,
Nothing
can I
really
also
much
add something else? Sorry, I just
Yeah.
want to add something else because it really is interesting. Some people say, well, Kovalev never put anything into his shots. That's not true because Canelo was being very conservative. And by the middle rounds, he was trying to push the pace. And the more he opened himself up, the harder Kovalev was hitting him. He did hit him with some very big shots. Now, again,
That's
like if you watch certain videos where they're trying to say that Kovalev threw the fight, they'll tell you that Canelo actually, that Kovalev, once he hit him hard, he pulled his punches right afterwards. Then again, that could also be because Canelo reverted back to his conservative style, which forced Kovalev to go back into his conservative style. You see what I'm saying? So there's different ways to look at this. It's a dance, exactly. It's both guys are, listen, they're both technicians, they're both professional boxers, one of the best in the world. They know what they're doing, and Kovalev already told you, and McGirt as well, that was the plan, and that they did.
Kovalev already told you that he was gonna get tired because that's why he didn't want the fight to begin with, right? The training camp. He starts getting tired. Canelo starts going forward.
It could also be a built-in excuse. I came in there to win.
But it's, that's true. That's true. But it's a fact that he was too early. Even when they announced the fight, we were talking about like, well, this fight's happening a little bit too.
Look,
too
I'll
early.
admit that all those things are very good possibilities because I thought the same thing. I'm like, man, Kovalev is coming from a fast. In other words, he's coming back pretty fast. They take this fight. I want way close, a catch weight or rehydration close. All that stuff came into my mind. But when I saw the way he was fighting, and I saw certain things that he was doing, that look, I've been watching the game long enough. I've been watching boxing long enough, and I've been watching Kovalev long. I'm like, dude, why are you fighting like that? Like that is terrible.
But in a way, don't you think that a lot of people had Canelo winning, and he was like a 5-1 favorite from the beginning? Even people that don't really know too much about boxing, and there's a reason for that because he had been looking vulnerable, like Mucho said, in the 3 out of his last 5 fights.
Look,
to where it was kind of an easy pick in the beginning. To where I started giving more credence. What's that?
Maybe the bookies were like, look, I know the fix is in. I know how.
That's why I must say it wouldn't be. To me, it's not a surprise that Kovalev lost because everybody was expecting this already. Now, if we're gonna say the fix was in from the beginning, well, then everybody should have been talking about it before.
To me, the whole fight was suspicious. Okay, that's I expressed as much on the show. I said this fight is suspicious for many reasons. Number one, I do not believe Canelo's brave enough to fight Kovalev straight up. No, I do not believe that. You may believe that. That's cool, but I don't believe that. That's one.
Yeah, second, a lot of people were saying that to be fair. Yeah.
Second,
that they were comfortable.
Second, look at the fucking odds for this fight. I mean, I understand Kovalev's on the downslide, but brother, he's the bigger guy. He's been dominant, and it's not like he has a 3-fight losing streak. He came off a 2-fight winning streak. He rematched Alvarez. Outboxed him for 12 rounds. And he fought Yard, and he knocked him out. And I know everybody just wants this Yard, and Yard ain't shit. Yard is 200 pounds, brother. He can hurt you.
Yeah, but come on, man. I mean,
I don't care. I don't care what his experience is. That boy hits you. You could go to sleep quickly. Okay. Now, he still was on a winning streak. Now, if you would have been like, "Yo, I got, opening up. This is a tough fight, but I got Canelo like a 2-1 favorite." I could see that. I'm like, all right, you betting on the superstar versus the career light heavyweight that might be slacking a little bit. Yo, they had that shit 8-1. 8-1. They were like, yeah, we know what's gonna happen here. Okay. Now it could have been. I'm not saying that it's a guarantee that they knew the fix was in, but I'm saying they could have known the fix was in.
All right, Philistines.
The thing with Yard.
Okay,
Yard, he's very predictable. Yes, go ahead, BD.
Just make, please, if you can try to make it concise, because we already hit the 3-hour mark. We do have to go. Okay. We have to wrap it up.
BDA.
Okay, so that's it.
I can do another show if you guys want.
Right now?
I can do it. Or I can do a second Renaissance. What do you want? What do people in the chat want?
Whatever you guys want, I'm down. I mean, I gotta be.
Yeah.
I gotta run and do some stuff, but I'll be available all night if you want.
He's got to pick up his TRT prescription.
You gotta stop by Jackson. You gotta stop by Jackson Heights. You gotta stop by Jackson Heights real quick.
Yeah,
Come on and do a bit. Come on for a bit and do some boxing if you're going to do that.
You want boxing? Okay.
Yeah, I'm tired for second Renaissance.
And by the way, guys, I respect all you guys' opinion. You guys are good.
Me too, Matrix.
Likewise,
Mitch.
Yeah, you know
That's what I was
It's
about to say.
Wait.
I
I was going to say one more thing. I was going to say one more thing. I'm telling you, the doctor said I'm too manly. You guys got to believe me when I say
Yeah, that's why I don't believe shit you say, man. Like,
But you know what?
Oh,
It's
that's what
interesting.
the problem is, man. That's what the
you're
problem
just
is.
mad.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Matrix is on his second week of Sustanon. He's on his second week of Deca. He's all argumentative with everybody now. All right, fucking fix the fight.
It's interesting. It's interesting that we can have these type of conversations, disagree, and then we move on. But there's people, I'm sorry to say, in the chat that they can't see it any other way. It's either or. If you don't agree with me, you're
I
an
love the
idiot,
chat.
and I'm out.
Honestly,
come on.
I love it. Even when they come after me, I like them. So they're crazy. They need to be displayed, and you can see their brilliance and their craziness. I like the crazy callers, like what's his name, Vinny, and fucking what's that punk ass motherfucker's name, Honcho, him too.
Honcho, all right. And by the way, before we go,
And there's this guy named Gangsters in the chat that said I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, it's pretty fucking stupid because he don't know me.
Exactly.
So, everybody's entitled to their own point.
Gonzalo,
I respect, recognize, and I can listen to what he
Gonzalo,
has to say.
Gonzalo, can I just say something?
I'm about facts. I believe, like I said, I've said it before in the video. I believe of aliens, but whenever they show me some fucking blurry picture of some rock on Mars and say, look, that's where we live. Look. You know what I mean? And that's what they're showing me. And you guys are not showing me anything. You just say, "Oh, I've got eyes. They work." You fucking guys are idiots. That's not it.
hey, listen. In fairness, too, we believe that 9/11 was an inside job, but we can't believe that a fight could be fixed. Come on, man.
Exactly.
Stu believes that Paul McCartney died, the real one. No.
I believe all sorts of shit.
Hold on, can I just say something real quick? That's the thing about Gangstas he doesn't get. We disagree with him, and immediately he goes, "You guys are idiots." But look at what he says in the chat. He says, "I don't need to know anything more than what you're saying in the show to know that you know very little about boxing." See that attitude? That's very female attitude. That's a very female attitude. You don't agree with me? You don't know. Nobody.
Don't have friends, man.
Come on, Gangstas. Gangstas, you know better than that, man. Come on.
That's all it is. He's got no facts. If he's got some facts, then take it to the courts. And let's be real. Let's get Kovalev out of boxing, because if he's throwing fights, he's got no business being there. Get him
exactly.
out.
But I doubt he's going
to.
You know what's funny, Stu?
Let's let BDA off the hook, and Bucha can go after hours.
Stu? After Jake LaMotta got busted and everything, he still boxed. They didn't punish him for it.
Exactly.
But I think today, I think it's a bit different today. You'd get
today. I think you fucked. That's it.
Yeah, you are.
If you get caught. You admit anything like that, you get caught.
Hey, you're better today. You're better off taking steroids than you are throwing a fight. I'm telling you that now. You got a better chance of coming back. And
that's the one thing you never want to admit. And I don't think if people are waiting for Kovalev to say, well, I don't care which way you lean. If you're expecting Kovalev to say, yeah, through the fight, you better wait 20 years from now.
Never. No, yeah. You're never gonna.
20 years from now. Wait till you can forget about
the guys in the chat is we're just discussing this shit. We're not like screaming over each other like Pookie, like H Money starts hollering.
Oh, come on, come on.
I'm just saying though, the man likes to scream his point. Scream. He's got bullet points. He screams and screams and screams and hollers. We're all discussing this shit. I respect. I know, man. He's back on that shit. He was doing jumping jacks in the Carter.
You saw what he looked.
You saw him in the Carter.
Guys, I'm telling you, let's not talk too much shit about him, because I'm telling you, I think I'm serious about. He's like Charlie Zelenoff. He's something mentally.
This is money.
Come on.
Remember when Pookie was doing jumping jacks in the Carter? Remember he was in the drug lab doing jumping jacks and grabbing titties?
Come on.
They're like, you better get him out of there, man.
Let's not get into that. Let's go. All right. So listen, thank you guys for joining us. I suppose if Bucha does a boxing show, I think he's gonna do a boxing show. So
yeah, I'm setting it up, man.
Let's get our predictions there. I'm not gonna be on, so I'll just thank you guys right away. But I want to give my prediction for the Ortiz Wilder fight. I think I definitely am tempted to say that Wilder will take him out earlier than he did in the first fight. But I'm going to go ahead and throw you guys a curve, and I'm going to say that I think Ortiz is still going to get him in a little bit of trouble before that happens. I'm expecting a nice little firefight for that.
I got Wilder in the sixth round TKO.
So do I. There you go. So do I. Wilder 6-round TKO. And also, let's not forget that the
I've got Ortiz getting knocked out, but throwing the fight.
Okay.
By pulling it.
Okay.
He's taking a shot at me. Go ahead,
He's taking
take a shot.
I'm only kidding, brother. I'm only kidding.
And to punk ass gangsters. Look, I picked Canelo 9th round where it went down in the 11th. Most of my predictions are about right. So boxing is very subjective. Sometimes it's chaos theory. People that claim to know a lot about boxing don't know shit. You know, and people that show a little bit more humility and have an opinion, hey, that's a better point of view to take into consideration.
That's well said. That's well. Have a little humility. You know, it's like the Bible says, those who are humble, the humble shall be exalted, and the exalted shall be humbled. Don't think you know everything out there.
Amen,
you
brother.
don't. Thank you.
Don't think amen, honey.
Honey, what? You're acting like a sassy. You're acting like a sassy black woman. That's right, honey. Hey, in fact, I have a.
Honey.
Let me play that. Let me play that clip while Butcher's setting up. Where is that? Real quick.
That's enough.
No, that's not it.
Matrix.
Yes.
When you're watching that DAZN broadcast, when you see that chick with the old lady with the salt and pepper hair with the funky haircut, you know, the commentator they got.
She was
you
like a
get flashbacks
blowjob.
to Jackson Heights, that trainee pimp. You shot her. That's what I'm thinking. That lady looked like that was trying to bust in the room. Like, hey, hurry up.
She kind of looked something like that, to be honest.
I bet, bro. It's like Halloween.
It was just like that. Like she had that like little short hair.
Nice lady, but man, that's happy Halloween. Good Lord.
Y'all. And by the way, so yeah, Bucho is gonna be starting a stream, which is Bucho. Let us know when you're ready, so we can start logging off here. But here's the quote. Bucho's gonna do another stream, and we're just getting started, baby.
Y'all ready for this? We just getting started, honey.
That's right.
Well, let me tell you something.
Well, that's a sugary boy from the South, boy. You could tell.
Yeah, that's. And by the way, did you guys see that Prince Andrew interview that he did with the BBC, where he's defending his position? He's defending himself from the allegations that he used to hang around with Jeffrey Epstein.
Pedophile.
Oh,
he used to hang out with a pedophile?
He's a nonsense pedophile, isn't he?
He used to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein.
You see him smiling at that young girl when she was leaving the house. Yeah, fucking man, disgusting.
I thought
you used to hang out with Epstein. You're saying?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Holy shit.
But Stu, I thought you were a big supporter of the royalty, the royal family, and all that, the dynasty.
Right. Just because I like some of them, don't mean I like the nonsense. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Fucking paedophile. Of course, I don't like him. And like I said, with me, if you hang around with a smackhead, you're a smackhead, whether you take the stuff or not. If you hang around with a paedophile, you're a paedophile. Because if you know that your mate or your friend's doing this and you still hang around with them all chummy, that tells me you're as fucking low as he is. So for me, he's a paedophile. Whether he did anything or not, he's hanging around with a paedophile. He's a paedophile. My guess, he's had his fucking hands up a few skirts. Let's just say that.
We should say that allegedly, we don't want to get sued. And even again, I have to confirm with this.
Send the court papers to me. I'll go to court and prove.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to seeing you in action. Jack says you got a great big car.
It's ready.
Ready? All right, fantastic.
This is a giant cock.
All right, guys. Bucho, I'm gonna jump on like in the next half an hour to an hour.
All right,
come on, Matrix, come back on, man. I want to chop it up, man. Come back on.
We'll chop it up, Pete. Chop it up. I gotta take care of some business. I gotta take care of that thing. You know that thing we was talking about?
I understand.
Go to the street corner.
I understand.
Remember that scene in the Taxi Driver where Travis Bickle is buying guns and the guy goes, "That's a sweet little gun. That's a little honey." It's like, who describes guns? Who describes guns like that? That's a little honey. That's a beautiful little gun. Beautiful little piece. All right, listen.
Honey.
Yeah, that's a little honey. All right, listen, guys. Thank you again for joining us. Don't forget, don't log off just yet. Bucho will be starting a second stream. We're going on the afterburner, after hours, overtime. So stay tuned for that. Bucho will continue this. Anything goes now that Bucho is on the helm.
Coke, mescaline, downers.
Nebutalol, oral hydrates. How about amphetamines?
Psilocybin?
Nitrous oxide. How about that? How about a Cadillac? Brand new
Brand new
Cadillac.
Cadillac. Yeah.
Oh,
I can get
nice.
it. Brand new Cadillac with the pink slip and everything.
I like that guy.
No, he's a fucking psycho. All right.
And we'll see you on the next stream.
Hold on. Before we do go, I want to give a shout out to Virtuoso, who just donated with a super chat. He says, "Don't get suicided by the Clintons, BDA." Yeah, I'm not going to be bench pressing anytime soon. I'll tell you that much right now. I don't want any barbells dropping on my neck. But thanks again, fellas, for joining us. Catch you on Bucho's stream, which he will be starting in a couple of minutes after we're done here. But before I do go, I want to thank everybody who showed up in the panel. Thank you guys. Very interesting talk, highly entertaining. I also want to thank everybody that donated via the super chat. Let me just give a shout out to Michael Stott, G Boogie, Pete, and there's a second person, Virtuoso. How come I can't see everybody? But yeah, there was Virtuoso was the last one. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for your contributions. And thanks to everybody that showed up in the chat room as well. Even though we disagreed, Gangsters and Nordic Warrior, I still respect your opinions because we do almost fundamentally agree on a lot of things. Just because we disagree on this doesn't mean we can. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying. Guys, thank you for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy, fellas. Thanks for watching.
Disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time. I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Totally disappointed in everyone.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in everyone.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be alright, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot. He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.